Saturday night. Hey, me, I'm alone. My room. It's the hottest show in town. Everybody's seeing Matt Proctor live stream. The scenes from a live stream. Hey now. Hey now. Hey now. Hey now. Hey now. Hey now. Play some sound effects here. How's my audio? Is it fucked up or is it? I'm sure YouTube is doing all kind of improvements that I didn't ask for. Come on, you piece of shit. I mean, my tripod is just completely fucking broken, so I'm trying to figure out any way I can to hang this thing. That might be the best I can do for now. Okay. Terrible. Get a little bit of a Dutch angle. Oh, I didn't know that this place closed. Apparently, this place in Meatpacking closed. Hector's. Closed last summer. I thought it was Stalwart. A holdout. I don't think I ever actually ate there. I think maybe I went there once. It was under the. I don't know if the High Line goes down that far. It was under the elevated railroad tracks. But it's gone now. All right, let's see what we got. Let's explore some sound effects just to get things. I can even hear these. Can even make sense out of any of this stuff. Stephen Colbert is a true American hero, and I will vote for him to be the next president of the United States. That's a rip from Fallon. Oh yeah, this was a trip. Skinner Murphy. Anybody remember this? That's it. What they call a core memory unlocked. Sharon, Lois, and Ram. That was like the dopest shit when I was like right before I went to kindergarten. I think I remember Sharon, Lois, and Ram was like kind of the hottest. They were like Peter, Paul, and Mary in a way, except there were two chicks. They were throuple. They had kind of folky energy or something. That was my first exposure to like. They look like beatniks or something. What else? Oh yeah. Well, we'll get to that. What have I got here? Let's see. Let's play some Sopranos shit. If we got. Do I have any Sopranos? Oh, this is the all time. Due respect. You got no fucking idea what it's like to be number one. Every decision you make affects every facet of every other fucking thing. It's too much to deal with almost. And in the end, you're completely alone with it all. So you know. Sorry you feel that way. What else? Oh yeah, here's some. Your words must go like this: bim bim bim, bim bim bim, bim bim bim, bim bim bim. Each line must be full of a delicious little juice, flavor. Your words must go like this. Rockers are very despicable people. It's Charles. Oh, here we go. I'm the genetic freak in size. Doesn't matter. But that statement means Jesus. Comes true when I'm in the ring. Or out of the ring. See, what all my freaks want to know. They understand size. They appreciate size. And size does matter. And they know that they don't have to wait for the Earth to rotate on a 47-degree axis so the stars can sketch the sky and create an equinox so they can see the Big Dipper. No, no, no. All they gotta do is call Big Papa. Cause I'm the man with the Big Dipper and sad sections coming when I go behind and do the bump and drive. And it's only a matter of time before they call me the Big Bad Booty Daddy. So Dipper, realize this, I only care about two things in this world. My freaks and my peaks. And when I beat your bad ass down and fall, and I'm about to start a recliner, I'm gonna whisper in your ear, size, does matter, bitch. I mean, he does have a way with words. exactly. So, I just wanted to hear what they had to say. I finally got with them a half hour later, and they said, "Yeah, well, we want you to put this thing over at Halloween Havoc, in about 2 minutes." Right. I said, "Yo, brother, I just did the job for him last month." I said, "I don't mind doing another jizz off, but I mean, it's a storyline where we're going with this thing." Yeah, you don't want to thing again. I'm sorry, but I mean, I'm not trying to look up here as Hollywood, but I mean, Hollywood Hogan is going to do the jizz off. I wouldn't mind doing it if we're talking about doing something big, like if Goldberg was starting to heel, or yeah, I said, "Oh, we're going to beat my ass," and there was a reason to carry on. Jizz, what else we got? Of course, the president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. Yikes! Yikes! Promises, because until a few weeks ago, I had no hope of being elected. Los Gettys. Jim Geddes has something less than a chance. Oh, so I was reading this book. I went to the Strand yesterday, and so I was reading this book. I found this book. I remember when it came out. My Lunches with Orson, I think is what it's called. And I remember because I read reviews of it in like the New York Times and shit. I think it came out around the time I moved to New York, sometime around 2011, 12, 10 ish era. And I remember reading excerpts of it. There were excerpts of it, I think maybe in Vanity Fair, fucking the New Yorker, or something like that. They had, because I've definitely read parts of this book before. And basically, all of this book, all it is it's transcriptions. This guy, Henry Yaglom, who is really maybe the most underrated director. He's like maybe my favorite director that I've discovered in like the last, I don't know, couple years or whatever. He slept on. Henry Yaglom, do yourself a favor. I mean, he's not everybody's cup of tea. He gets kind of horrific letterbox reviews, let's just say that. And his movies are very kind of like hippie movies or something. We'll get into that. So anyway, he was sort of, I don't know, a protege, an acolyte, a lunchtime companion of Orson Welles, kind of late in his life in Hollywood. They would go to this restaurant, Ma Maison, which is in West Hollywood, some fucking place. And I guess the chef was Wolfgang Puck for the first 6 years, but Orson doesn't like Wolfgang Puck. Orson Welles has opinions on every goddamn, and he does not like Wolfgang Puck. I think he thinks Wolfgang Puck is a snide little egomaniac or something. And so anyway, the whole fucking book, this guy took a tape recorder to his lunches with Orson Welles and just tape recorded Orson Welles just pontificating, freely espousing, and just kind of going off. Generally, just kind of going off, King, sounding off on just basically, the dude just has so many fucking stories and just a lot of firsthand. And he's a great storyteller. He's constantly telling jokes. He knew everybody. Fucking, he's the one who got who was it? Somebody their first job in Hollywood. Who the fuck was it? George Raft or something. I forget who. He knew Roosevelt. Roosevelt told him, "We're the two best actors in America." Me and Lamont Cranston, The Shadow. And so what an incredible life. I mean, Orson Welles is kind of, I don't know. He is like this fucking genius. Or like at that time he was living in the long kind of like aftermath of him kind of proving himself young, and then kind of like struggling to pull projects together. And
but he's also just like this incredible talent. And he was in a lot of movies. I mean, he was in like fucking probably dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of movies. And he's in the fucking what, the Transformers movie. He's in tons of shit. Casino Royale. He's in some of these fucking. He's in Moby Dick, and he's got opinions about everybody. But he comes from kind of this era of like. He talks about how John Huston ripped off Citizen Kane. John Huston, the Maltese Falcon. John Huston ripped his whole style, and he's a theater guy, so he's got all these opinions. He really is one of the. He's a unique species, kind of the American theater imminence. Like Britain has all of these fucking like storied, like it's Peter O'Toole and Richard Harris and Richard Burton and fucking Olivier and Ralph Richardson and fucking Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, and it's just like it's endless. These guys all do fucking like Shakespeare. They've all been Ray Fiennes and fucking, they're all alcoholics. And they've got crazy. I mean, there's tons of like Peter O'Toole and Richard Harris on Letterman, just telling these unbelievable stories about getting wasted in the middle of a fucking show, or I didn't have to be back for the second act, so I can go back to the pub across the street and blah blah blah. I got shit faced and I missed my cue, or shit like that. We were in jail and blah blah blah. And Orson Welles is probably one of the few Americans who can kind of claim that level. He sort of made it. He had this whole career, even as a little kid. He was adapting Shakespeare, and he played King Lear when he was like fucking 10 years old. He was like he had created his own adaptations of the plays when he was like a child, and so he really had a whole life as this kind of Shakespearean uh, player. And he made a number of movies of Shakespeare, the Scottish play, and Chimes at Midnight, maybe the best Shakespearean movie there is. But he did it. He wasn't really totally copying these British guys, like like a lot of American productions kind of do. Or, just like a lot of these like Joseph Papp things where it's like they get Al Pacino and Martin Sheen and to be in Julius Caesar and shit. It's like, not that that stuff doesn't work, having George C. Scott in it, or fucking, uh, I don't know who's in it this summer. Fucking Oscar Isaac. I think he played Hamlet. Doesn't quite hit the same. Some of these, Brando probably could have done it, but there's very few American actors that I feel like can kind of go toe to toe with I don't know. Americans do it in their own way, but uh, and that's valid. When Americans do it, it's a little more colloquial, it's more casual or something. I think that's valid. I like that. I like plain clothes Shakespeare. Let's just wear, what the fuck we wore to rehearsal. I think that's valid. Uh, but Orson Welles felt like he had a vision for what it should look like and what it meant and how it should be played. He's got opinions about, oh, the part is like this and it needs to be played this way. Why it didn't work is they cast this woman who was dreadful and blah blah. She had no. And like, to be fair, like the theater people that I knew, that is kind of how they thought about everything. They knew all the parts. They had opinions about what their interpretation of it was, what made it work. And a lot of these directors, Peter Bogdanovich, they would go to Orson Welles for like advice or to just sit at his feet and listen to him. And that's what this book is basically. And it's That's kind of what I like about it. Is it's like a naturalistic. It's almost like an Andy Warhol book or something where it's just like it's literally just. I'm sure it was edited and typed to be like readable, and so in that sense, it is like a written work. It's 320 pages. I've read practically the whole thing in like one day. That's another thing that I like about it is it's just like it's easy to read, but it's also full of information. It's hilariously funny. It's dense because you're looking for the nuance of the meaning and the deeper, like why is Orson Welles? He is kind of like self-destructive, or he has this one part where he talks about the death wish. Artists who are self-destructive have the death wish, and it's like that. I don't know. It's something that you could argue about him, maybe he seemed to sabotage his own projects or sort of be careless about them. How's the audio? Is it shitty, or I'm getting people that are tuning in and then leaving? I guess maybe I could check it on this phone real fast. I've got my dualies going. I've got my internet here, so let me just check it real fast. Uh, I got this book. I got it free on fucking archive.org. I was able to check it out. All right, let's see. Archive.org. Okay, that sounds good. It sounds like I'm getting ambient. It doesn't sound like I'm just getting the shitty voice filter or whatever the hell it is. Let's see if this thing is working. Okay. And so I feel like it's related to this Henry Yaglam's filmmaking style. This is one of the things that I liked about his style was it just feels very like organic or like natural. Um it's there's beauty in it. Um he seems like he's almost like if Andre Gregory and Wallace Shawn were like, it's almost like he's from the same milieu. Like I guess he's probably a theater guy. Maybe I think it said that he started the Actors Studio with Strasberg and shit like this. Um, so I think he was an actor maybe for first, and he started working on film. I think he was like an editor or something on Easy Rider, and so I think he was, Easy Rider was this movie that sort of was like this weird inspiration for fucking, I don't know, new Hollywood and particular like I don't know, a lot of Vim Vendor stuff you can trace back to Easy Rider in a way. Road movie and almost like a documentary production. Not as much, but like an appreciation for lighting, Robbie Mueller, cinematography, Easy Rider, I think, who was it, Laszlo Kovacs or something? I don't know. So it's not like, the cinematography just goes out the freaking window. It's just, it's a little bit more of a hippie approach or something. There's less interference with the technology. It's a little bit more natural. And so these Henry Yaglam films, like there's one, what the fuck is it called? With Orson Welles. Uh, I've got it on my list here. Hold on. Safe Place, I think is what it's called. A Safe Place. I'm pretty sure it's called A Safe Place. Um, it's a great New York movie. I encourage people to watch A Safe Place. It's a lot of it shot in Central Park, the East Village. I think it was made like 1971 or two, maybe. And so it's really good time capsule of that era. But it's like fucking Orson Welles is in it, Jack Nicholson is in it, Tuesday Weld is in it. Um, then there was this movie he made with, I forget what it's called, but Karen Black is in it. What the fuck is that movie called? Let me look it up real fast. Because part of the point I want to make is like I feel like his sensibility or something was adapted. Let's see what this movie's called. Karen Black is another somebody who's kind of slept on. She's in a lot. She's in a lot of stuff. Can she bake a cherry pie? I encourage people to watch this movie. I don't remember exactly what it's about, but there's a scene in it where Larry David. It takes place on the Upper West Side, and there's a scene in it where Larry David and these guys are just like hanging out. I forget what the fuck they're talking about, but it's almost like a Seinfeld bit where it's just like they're just hanging out and just shooting the shit. He's talking about it's I don't know. It's one of his things where he's like nitpicking some kind of social moray or custom or way of speak or something speech. And so, like, I don't know, it struck me that Seinfeld was kind of an adaptation of like things that had been going on in like indie film or like films. Like, it's sort of like an adaptation of Woody Allen to like television, really, or like Rob Reiner when Harry Met Sally. It's got a little bit of that. Rob Reiner was like a producer on Seinfeld. Or like the other voice I feel like Larry David was kind of imitating was like Albert Brooks. Seinfeld kind of has like a little bit of like a modern romance thing, and this movie I felt like in a weird way, like they're on the Upper West Side, but it's like it's really pretty, It's like it's shot on film. It's 16 millimeter. It's like it's not like a TV show. It's not like Seinfeld where it's like famously kind of like scrubbed clean and Jerry is like famously kind of like fastidious or germophobic almost. Uh, it's so sterile. This movie is like the gritty, ugly New York that that was kind of what Seinfeld was actually about. And so I feel like Seinfeld was, for TV, that stuff was, or a sitcom, to put that kind of content, something that would have been like in a Woody Allen movie. I mean, in a lot of ways, the show is just kind of a ripoff of fucking, Broadway Danny Rose or any number of Woody Allen kind of autobiographical things. Uh, but doing it on TV, doing it in a sitcom form, things that I think that's something Jason Alexander said about when he read the Seinfeld script. He thought it was very hip. It was like something you'd see in an independent film. It wasn't something you typically see in like a sitcom pilot. And so I think to some degree, in some weird way, Henry Yaglum, I guess he's just another sort of like, I don't know, European immigrant. I think his parents were in the Holocaust or they escaped the Holocaust. It was that type of thing. Because him and Orson Welles, they're constantly talking about these different European kind of. He says earlier on the book, Orson Welles says he doesn't trust anybody that's not bigoted. You have to be, you're not human if you're not a little bigoted or something. And I wouldn't say he's bigoted in the book, but he definitely like is short slicing people or thin slicing people based on he's drawing conclusions of people based on what country they're from, like in Europe. It's like, oh, Germans are like this, and fucking, oh, that's how the Irish are. The Irish are fucking, they're all morose, and the only good Irishman I ever blah blah blah. Because he'd been around Europe, since he was a kid and shit. He had been to all these fucking countries. Like that was probably part of what made them unique. It was they did have cultural, archetypes, personality wise, or personality traits, or something. He's at one point he talks about confession is like psychotherapy, except it's cheaper. Um, so it's just a feast. This book, it's a breeze to read through, but Orson Welles' opinions are all kind of like startling. I mean, I wouldn't say he's liberal. I mean, the whole book he's talking about he hates Ronald Reagan and he keeps calling him Ronnie. But then he talks about how he hates George Bush even more. He's afraid that George Bush is going to be the president. But he's also, I mean, I think there is one point in the book where he says he's more left than Henry Yaglom will ever be. And he's a learned guy. He's one of these directors that like understands world history and like he knows culturally. He said Franklin Delano Roosevelt was the last Whig. The Whigs, I think, were into like expanding the federal government's powers and like the Congress in opposition to like Andrew Jackson and like executive power all being concentrated in one figure. So, uh, it's interesting to see this. Orson Welles is almost like a Picasso, or he's one of those artists that like really has a powerful vision within his mediums. And somebody said Citizen Kane was a ripoff of Borges, which I don't. I guess that's a possibility. It's interesting to think about the things that he was, because all the movies that he talks about are like these fucking movies from the 1930s and shit. He's really into John Barrymore. He keeps talking about Jack Barrymore. He loves fucking Jack Barrymore. It's like, okay. Uh, he said going to the movies in the 30s was more like television because it was so cheap that you would just duck into the theater to like check out whatever the fuck movie was. And you'd walk in halfway through or something and you just try to figure out what was going on. Then you'd watch it until the point that you came in. You'd be like, oh, this is where we came in. People were saying that all the time. And so I don't know. In the same way that like Henry Yaglom's movies are sort of like incorporating his reality, they're more like plein air paintings. He's somewhere between like a Woody Allen and like a Jonas Mekas or something. Like he's not totally earthy and like uncommercial. He doesn't make like diary movies, but you can tell his movies are super personal and super like there's less interference between the technology and like a studio. They're more kind of like about his relationships, love, modern. There's this one great movie. It's the last movie Orson Welles is in. I forget what the fuck it's called. It was on YouTube. A lot of these movies are on YouTube. I encourage people to look them up. But what the hell is that Orson one? The last. Let me look it up real fast. Strange something. But like half the movie is just like Orson Welles sort of pontificating to like a theater of like students, and then the other half is like all this relationship stuff. And it's just like it's remarkable how he put that together and how well it hangs together. And let me see, what is it? Uh, Someone to Love is what it's called. Uh, so I don't know. A lot of audiences hated these fucking movies. People would probably watch them now and be like, "These movies suck." They're sort of, I don't know. Would you call them mumblecore? I wish more people made fucking movies like this. They're just like adult movies. They're full of ideas. They're full of real human interactions or like more honest kind of human interactions. The cinematography is nice without like totally overdoing it. I guess it could, like some of these movies look a little nicer, like a Paul Mazursky movie, or like I said, those Robbie Mueller films probably look nicer, but uh, they're ensemble pieces. They're about real, like adult feelings, real adult relationships. They're sort of like Woody Allen movies, but they're a little less. I mean, Woody Allen is so obsessed with himself and his character and his personality is such a huge part of it. These movies are a little less forcing the director's personality down your throat. Although he's in the movie and he probably plays himself basically. Uh it's interesting to think that he was sort of an intermediary for Orson Welles later in his life. In the introduction to this book, he sort of claims that he became like, as Orson Welles became less capable or less, he, like I said, he kind of self sabotages a lot of these projects. He'll get people interested, and then he'll just be like, "No, I don't want to do it." He's cranky. He's very irritable. Like at one point, he's talking to this executive from HBO, and she like sort of like indicates a little bit of confusion about what he's pitching, and he just immediately shuts down. He's like, "No, she doesn't get it. I need them to light up for me. If they don't light up, I can't do it." And he just like completely implodes, and it's like, Jesus Christ. Like this is fucking Orson Welles. He's like having a fucking, he's collapsing because he can't pitch it to this fucking like HBO executive. And so she like leaves. It's like super awkward. He has all these people like stop at his table, like Jack Lemmon stops at his table for a couple minutes. Uh, and he kind of like is, he's not really, he's kind of, he likes Jack Lemmon. He's nice to Jack Lemmon. But some of these other people, Zsa Zsa Gabor, he's kind of like real brusque with them. So it's interesting seeing his manners and because part of it, he does just seem like a good hang. He seems like a fucking chiller and just like and a fun guy. And it seems like that's what kind of drives him in a way. He's got opinions about movies, but he doesn't really. He's not a like a cinema nerd. That's one thing he complains about. He's like the directors now. All they know is stuff about movies. All they've seen is all their movies are based on other movies. It's like God forbid they have like experiences. I thought that was kind of interesting. As artists, I think it's important to have experiences. Not that you can help having experiences just in life, but I don't know. I think as a writer in particular, I know for me personally, I will probably lend myself to certain things as like research or just like it's a certain experience I want to have just so I can have that story or whatever. It's sick, but Orson Welles is somebody. There's some story I haven't watched the clip, but there's some story of him on Dick Cavett where he's talking about as a kid he like sat next to Hitler or something. He was at some dinner in Europe, like in the 30s or 20s or some shit, because he was like a cosmopolitan. His family, Dr. Bernstein or whatever, had taken him all over the fucking world when he was like a child. He'd been to China and fucking, he probably was like a Rudy Burkhart or an Edwin Denby. I think those were like his buddies when he moved to New York because they all been all over the place. They've been to Hong Kong and And so apparently at some dinner when he was, who knows? Orson Welles could be making all of this shit up. He does give you the impression that he's just like kind of running his fucking mouth about everything. Anytime somebody brings up Bogdanovich, Orson Welles is like, oh God. All Bogdanovich wants to talk about is Bogdanovich. You'll never get a word. Apparently, Bogdanovich is just a bore. If Orson Welles thinks you're a bore, it's like you got a fucking problem. But he's a pretty cool guy, to be honest. I don't know if they really make him like that anymore. I don't know what it is about those guys from that generation and like I don't know my dad's generation. I don't know. They all have a similar the way they tell stories, the way they I don't know. They just have a more maybe that's just the attitudes we have towards like our elders or something. But it's also just like I don't know the way that they converse. Like they're more kind of affable and I don't know. They know how to tell stories. Fucking Orson Welles, all he does is like tell these fucking anecdotes. Oh, there's a great story about so some fucking Max Reinhardt or something, some fucking European theater director or some shit from the 20s. Oh, the greatest line ever about that was some jackoff was in an opera in the 1860s, and it's okay. When is the next without missing a beat, he said, when does the next gondola arrive? So this book is lit, 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 lit. It's easy to read. Well, I like it because I'm curious about these books that are sort of hybrids of like audio and text. Like it's technically a tape recording that they transcribed into a text. So that's one reason why it makes it so easy to read. But does it lose density? Does it lose, what does it lose for being that way? It's not something that was written like even like a script. And it certainly would it's not a novel or something about it's not a memoir, of this guy fucking reminiscing about his lunch. It's literally just like here's the actual fucking everything he said. It's like a podcast. And of course he has to be eating. They have to fat shame Orson Welles. He's less of a snob than the European guy. Henry Yaglom, I would say, is a little bit more of a snob about the food and stuff. Orson Welles is pretty chill about it. He's kind of a down home guy in a certain way. I mean, he's from some small town in fucking Wisconsin or Illinois or something. At that time, those places were still kind of like happening. Small town America was not just like this decayed shell of like zombies and Dollar Generals and shit. It was I don't know. It was still like the magnificent Amazons. This genteel. I mean, Jesus Christ, that movie just gets more true all the time. The Magnificent Ambersons, just how it's about how the automobile just like ripped the soul out of our civilization. It's just like it's even more true now. He made that fucking movie before urban renewal and freeways and everything became completely car centric. Magnificent Ambersons came out in 1942. That was before all of the post-war interstate ripping out the cosmopolitan fabric of this country and turning the cities just into these concrete fucking speedways. Automobiles are here. They may not add to the beauty of the world of the life of men's souls. I don't know. He says he hates Art Deco. Somehow Orson Welles hates Art Deco. I don't see how that. I mean, he was born in like 1916 or something, so his perception of like the beauty and he thinks like the 19th century was like the fucking ideal, whatever. He saw what was before. So he didn't like Art Deco for some reason. He thought it was gauche. He likes Louis Sullivan and that shit. I don't know. Frank Lloyd Wright or something. I don't know. Uh, or what was his opinion? I don't know what his opinion was on Frank Lloyd Wright. I'm sure he had one. But I was a little surprised by that. Somebody said Citizen Kane was about like America at the beginning of the 20th century. I think there's some truth to that. Because in 1941, when they were making it, it was like, now it's to be like making a movie about the 80s. Uh, oh, yeah, I wanted to talk about the fucking Colbert thing too, Colbert's last show. Because that was so obvious. Now that it's over, it's like it's so fucking obvious that his guest was going to be Paul McCartney. I can't believe I didn't call that on fucking Wednesday for fans of the live stream. You may remember I spent a large part of Wednesday's live stream. Uh, I pondering who would be fucking Colbert's. People said it was going to be the Pope, but it should have been so obvious that it was Paul McCartney because he was just on fucking Saturday Night Live. In fact, it seemed like he used the Saturday Night Live almost like a fucking rehearsal or something. And then it's the Ed Sullivan Theater. So it was such an amazing moment, actually. The fact that he played Hello Goodbye, I mean, that really does fit Stephen Colbert. That totally is his sense of humor. And it's not at all what you would expect him to play. You'd expect him to play some kind of maudlin, The Long and Winding Road, or one of those pieces, one of the sad pieces. Give Peace a Chance, maybe. Maybe, I don't know, Coming Up, Silly Love Songs, I don't know. But no, I think they picked the absolute perfect song. It couldn't have been any more. It was, in fact, I wish I would have gone down there just to be a part of it, because we'll never get anything like that in our lifetime again. The fact that it kind of bookends McCartney's, it's a weird bookend in a way to like the Beatles story, or like at least McCartney's, for him to play the last night of the, who knows what they're gonna do with that fucking theater. They probably want to tear it down and build some fucking super tall. That's Billionaires Row. They just tore down right across the street was Bad Boy Entertainment, which was where P. Diddy's fucking empire was, and all the making the band shit. They tore that down. I don't know what they built there, but they will probably tear the fucking theater down. That's probably why they want it. I don't think they're gonna put another show in there, personally. That's just my uh uh projection of what, but so it was a weird, it's one of those moments that like it almost gives you goosebumps because it was such a, that song does have this weird kind of like, I don't know, spiritual. It was like a New Orleans funeral, right? It's like they've got Jean Baptiste there and fucking Elvis Costello, the river in reverse. I'm glad Elvis Costello got some kind of fucking invite to do something cool. He sort of gets culturally overlooked, I feel like. He's only got like 5,000 TikTok followers. It's like pathetic. It's like this is Elvis Costello. He's one of the greatest living fucking songwriters. He's only got 5,000 TikTok followers. It's like that's insanity. But he's on Colbert's last show, singing with fucking Jean Baptiste, and I mean, I don't really need to see Colbert singing personally, but whatever. If he's got to be a part of it, then so be it. For some reason, McCartney's down with him, and just what a fucking cool fuck you to Trump. You know, like you canceled this thing. We're gonna get, arguably the biggest star in the world. Probably the greatest living genius, McCartney. I mean, to be honest, if I had to pick between McCartney and Bob Dylan, I'd probably pick McCartney. To be honest, I mean, is that insane to say? If I got all of the Beatles songs, I mean, there's certain things like Martha, My Dear. I mean, and so like a lot of things that the McCartney does, it just kind of had the perfect touch. Letterman had Bob Dylan as his last musical guest. Colbert gets fucking McCartney, and it rounds out the kind of his career, kind of with the Ed Sullivan Theater. He started in America there. Who knows how many more years we'll get McCartney? Probably not. I mean, Jesus Christ, the guy's what, 84, going on 85. Like, God bless him. Like, God bless that he's still out there doing it. He sounds pretty goddamn good, I gotta say. For being 80 fucking 4 years old, he's still playing the fucking bass and piano and shit. I hope he's out there till he's 90 fucking 4. I hope he's out there till he's 104. I could give a shit if his voice sounds the same. Like, he sounds pretty fucking good with Chad Smith, and it was really a fucking magical, powerful moment in a world that's like bereft of those type of things. Like how often is there any kind of like centralizing, like really powerful? It doesn't happen that often. Maybe the last one was what? I don't know. Sopranos finale. What was the last like really big, powerful, unifying, positive thing that happened? Obama getting elected. Trump getting defeated. I don't know. You can debate that amongst yourselves. You know who I hate? I hate fucking Bill Simmons. Who is that guy? These are the top 10 Rat Pack movies. We need to reevaluate Andrew McCarthy's career. I'm going to have a whole fucking $1 million industry podcast. I hate Bill Simmons. Fuck you, Bill Simmons. I could kick Bill Simmons' ass. I think he has the most mediocre taste. He has absolutely like the most middlebrow taste, and he acts like he's like, oh, these are the top 40 movies of like the two. What was it? They did the top 25 movies, I think, of the 21st century, and their picks were just so fucking stupid. I think was Bridesmaids number one. Nothing against Bridesmaids. It was like the. It was definitely like in the top 10 or something. Like Like Bill Simmons, I guess that's why he has a job because but he likes kind of dumb shit. Like he's into like, oh, When Harry Met Sally, greatest movie of the 80s. It's like, what? You're fucking lame, dude. Like, okay, 50 most rewatchable movies of the 21st century. That's the fucking list. Jesus Christ. Top 50 movies of the 21st century. Here it is. Can we just see the fucking list? Oh my God. Okay. Yikes. 37, Top Gun Maverick. Wow. Okay. Number one, Devil Wears Prada. Holy shit. I mean, good for you, Bill, coming out of the closet and admitting you're gay. Like, you should be very proud of yourself, Bill, for being able to share the fact that you're gay with everybody. No, I'm just roasting you, Bill. Bill Simmons, you suck dick for a living. I'm sorry. Number one, Devil Wears Prada. I haven't seen it. If that is the greatest film of the 21st century, we are fucked as a civilization. I mean, I'm sure it's good. Don't go. I lived it. I don't need to fucking watch it. I live it every fucking day, okay? I've lived multiple scenarios in New York City where I've been in you never get out of the Devil Wears Prada. At this point, you're just like an intern forever with some boss that terrorizes you because they never let go. I mean, Anna Wintour, she's still in charge, right? I mean, they just made another fucking movie. and they're still in the same, like, you know, relationship. Number two, Social Network. I mean, that I guess I could understand if people want to say that that's one of the top movies of the 21st century. I don't love it personally. I'd like to see it again. I like Aaron Sorkin. I like David Fincher to some extent. I'm not totally on, really into, I don't, everything post, I don't know. I wasn't really into Zodiac, but Social Network. If you wanted to say, that's not the dumbest opinion on here. Number three, Anchorman. Is this the best movies or is this just like the best fucking DVDs or something? Like that's what this feels like. It's like these are the best DVDs I bought at Target. I'm Bill Simmons. I probably have a black American Express card from my fucking stupid opinions. And the third greatest movie of the 21st century is Anchorman. I mean, it might be on the list. I'd even think maybe Anchorman's in the top. I don't know. I guess that's not a dumb opinion, but I mean, once again, Anchorman's pretty great, but like think about all the movies they made in the 70s. Think about Henry Yaglom and Orson Welles. What would Orson Welles think of this list? Number four, The Town. I haven't seen it. I've heard it's good. It's Ben Affleck, right? If Ben Affleck directed it, God help us. Number five, Departed. I liked Departed, but it was kind of a rehash of. It was sort of like Goodfellas meets Reservoir Dogs, but like post 9/11, and it was sort of a formative movie in a weird way. Like when I was in college, like that was our Scorsese movie. Like he and it did a lot of the things that his movies had done before. Like that's not a bad thing necessarily. It was a Bush era. It was almost like his Sopranos in some ways. Uh, I liked it, but I don't think it had the same juice that Goodfellas did, or it was kind of a rehash, or Casino maybe for that matter. Like there's something about The Departed that's a little bit more. It's probably the only bad Jack Nicholson performance, to be honest. Like because when I was younger, that was one of the few Jack Nicholson movies I'd probably seen, maybe Batman and About Schmidt, which I love, but I just thought that's kind of what Jack Nicholson did. He just was really over the top, and to be honest, he's not like that in most of his movies. Most of his movies, he's very like conscientious. You can see him thinking. I think that's his power as an actor. Is like you feel his intelligence. In The Departed, they really let him go over the top, and I don't know how I got on this Bill Simmons thing. Miami Vice, I didn't see. I heard it's great. Number seven, The Hangover. Like, go fuck yourself. If you think The Hangover is one of the best movies of the 21st century, like your opinion does not mean anything to me. Super Bad, number eight. I mean, Super Bad, I think, is probably one of the most overrated movies ever made. I am so sick of hearing about fucking Super Bad. It's like a mildly amusing film. I don't ever, there's a million fucking high school movies that are exactly like Super Bad. Like it's just a remake of Porky's and fucking every other stupid fucking high school movie. It's just like a bunch of teenagers that are trying to party and get laid. And they make like, jokes that are really like dirty and they're fat and ugly. Like fuck that movie. I hate it. I still hate that movie. I fucking hate Seth Rogen. I hate that that is the movie that like shaped our fucking generation. Like that sucks ass. So I'm a hater, and I hate fucking Bill Simmons' list. I didn't want to talk about roast fucking comedy. Well, there was some goddamn thing I saw about fucking roast. I saw this video where like little kids were like doing a roast or something, and there was just recently, I think, what roast of Kevin Hart or something. I've been seeing clips of Pete Davidson and Tony Hinchcliffe and a bunch of people at this fucking, because it's the Netflix is a joke festival, right? Which is this big industry. I don't know, these comedians. Oh my god. Why do they have so much fucking cultural power? It drives me fucking crazy. And money. Netflix is a joke festival. And so they're all the comedians are like in LA. Or they were. I don't know if it's over. Obviously I'm not a comedian, so I could care less. It's like an industry thing for them. And it's this big because Netflix, I don't know, are they still throwing all this money at stand-up comedy? The thing is, stand-up comedy is so cheap to produce, and it will hold people's attention because people are just on their phones listening for takes all day, every day. And so stand-up comedy is just take, 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 take. The thing that gets neglected in stand-up comedy is character. The thing that we remember about great comedians is their great characters. All of the great comedians, the Marx Brothers, Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, W.C. Fields, Rodney Dangerfield. I mean, maybe the Second City people, it's a little different. Somebody like Bill Murray, Chevy Chase. These guys have characters. I guess they're a little less pronounced. But something like Woody Allen, right? The character is like very pronounced. Like everybody knew who fucking Woody Allen was like in the 60s because of his glasses, his manner of speaking. That character was like immediately identifiable, immediately memorable. I think that's none of these comedians have any character. Like they're all just these sort of nondescript like bro. They all wear the same fucking stupid like windbreaker and like white tennis shoes and like fucking elastic skinny jeans. They all have the same fucking like alt-right haircut. They're not characters. I mean, maybe like Theo Vaughn, I guess maybe Tim Dillon is kind of a character. He's like fat. That's sort of like a character. But it seems like to me, like more or less all comedians now are trying not to stand out in that way. They're trying not to really be like a character. Like they're just trying to be like cool kids that like roast people and like insult people or whatever. And like Tony Hinch, like what is Tony Hinchcliffe's character? He's like a gay supervillain. He's like some weird, shitty gay Bond villain. Like, what is his fucking character like? I mean, maybe characters just don't really even fucking exist in our society, but just something to think about for the comedians out there. I think, don't get me wrong, like there, especially on the open mic level, there are comedians that like have identifiable essences and things like that. But uh, people definitely remember. Everybody's obsessed with jokes now and joke writing, and like everybody's sort of an amateur comedian. Like these fucking joke contests on Weekend Update. It's like, when are they going to get rid of these guys? They should have got rid of those guys last year. The fact they still have Colin Jost and Michael Che on that desk is fucking insane to me. Like, and they do these like joke contests, and the audience is kind of in on it because everybody's like, I don't know, has this kind of heightened appreciation for like joke writing and joke form because comedy is like this art form, or like it's something that has a lot of scrutiny, a lot of casual audience. A lot of people are trying it. A lot of people do open mics. A lot of people do fucking podcast type shit. And I saw this fucking thing of like little kids roasting each other. What was I was listening to some fucking, who was it? They were complaining about how comedians now, like there's no like alt comedy. It's all like fucking like just like mean spirited like roasting. Who was complaining about that? Somebody was on some fucking podcast. I forget. Who the hell was it? Uh, and this is something that I've been complaining about or tracking on my live stream continuously. It's just like this weird like roasting culture because it is kind of like it's weird how prevalent it is. I don't really feel comfortable with it. I was shocked going into these fucking comedy clubs, particularly in Manhattan. First of all, how right wing everybody is, how sympathetic to Trump they were. And this was like before this was 23 and shit. 22, 23. And also how mean everybody is. It's like that's your job as a comedian is to be like a fucking douchebag and like openly insult all the other fucking comedians. If they do something if they smell blood, it's so fucking competitive. And if you do anything that's like outside the lines at all, it's like all of the other fucking comedians are just gonna like come at you. And then there's these goddamn roasts. It's like pretty fucking normal that there's these roasts where it's like, oh, the whole goddamn thing is like, let's get together and just like shit all over this person. And to be honest, it does feel like it's part of the fucking Trump era. Like, don't there were fucking like those Comedy Central roasts and shit like that. That sort of started happening like in the 2000s, really. That's when it sort of like went like it became like a popular thing for Comedy Central to televise. Was like the first ones were like the Chevy Chase roast and fucking Jerry Stiller. I think they did a roast, or maybe did they do Jason Alexander? I think they did Hugh Hefner. They did Trump. Comedy Central did all these fucking dumbass roasts, and certain people that were like not really famous comedians, like Lisa Lampanelli, or even Jeffrey Ross, or fucking even Greg Giraldo or like Patrice O'Neill. These comedians that sort of like didn't even know the people they were insulting suddenly got all this profile for sort of being standouts at these fucking stupid roasts. And that's their whole thing. Look at Jeff Ross, look at Lisa Lampanelli. Like their whole fucking bread and butter is these goddamn roasts. And now it's just like this fucking Kill Tony show is I don't know. It dovetails nicely with the fascism. All of the mean spirited. I mean, we have an insult comic for president. He's the roast master in chief. He's the what do they call him at the Friars Club? Like the head friar or something. They probably call him the roast master general. What do they call the head friar at the fucking Friars Club? That's Trump. Whatever they call him, that's Trump. He's Friar Tuck. And so I was a little disturbed to see this video of like little kids doing like a roast at their school. They're imitating what they see on fucking Netflix as a joke or Kill Tony or I mean, I guess kids have always done that. Kids have always bullied each other and they're fucking mean. I guess it's not really anything new. That's not really cause for alarm, but uh I don't know. It is something that I bemoan regularly. Just like the loss of like most of the interesting like alternative comedy. There's this like stand-up comedy boom, and stand-up comedy is like dominating our culture, but it is just like this weird like thuggish um conformist uh and mean-spirited and bigoted. Like that's a big part of the roasting is like how racist can you be, how fucking like the shit Tony Hinchcliffe said about Puerto Rico, that everybody was up. That was a roast guy. That was like the fucking one of the predominant fucking faces of like the roast culture. And so what I'm saying is, like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a psyop. I think this roasting has been like promoted, just like all of these fucking people on YouTube, all of this right wing content, all these dumbass podcasters. They're all right wing. It's like there is no Air America. You're not seeing fucking Sam Sater, have nearly the same viewership. You're not seeing Tim Heidecker have nearly the same viewership. It's like there are voices out there of people on the left. Even somebody like Colbert, like, he got fucking canceled. That's how fucking like biased everything is toward the right now. It's like literally every single one of these fucking manosphere stand-up comedian, and we use that term extremely lightly. It's just something they hide behind. Like, this is why comedy should be illegal. It's just something that like mean people hide behind. Guys that are just like douchebags who like wrote, they're just savage. I just say whatever the fuck I think. If you don't like it, like, fuck you. I just tell it like it is. I mean, I guess that's always been a big part of comedy, but it feels like they're the brown shirts or something. I'm sick of seeing fucking Colin Jost fucking Pete Hegseth imitation. It wasn't funny the first time. I need a fucking gluten-free, dairy-free cupcake. Sorry. It's a cupcake break, everybody. If you're at home, you have cupcakes. So I guess kids have always roasted each other, but it's scary to see that they're like organizing it into fucking like contests, or I don't know, whatever, shows. They're doing open mics. These little kids, they're doing comedy open mics in their classrooms. During recess, they don't really want to play sports anymore. They want to be insult comedians. They're pretending that they have podcasts. They're no longer doing athletic activities during recess. They're podcasting. But they're using AI, so it's okay. As long as the kids are using AI and learning how to use AI, that's all that matters. Just keep listening to the stand-up comedy podcasts while you work on your chat GPT prompts, boys and girls. It's all bullshit, man. It's all fucking bullshit. Everyone is dumb but me. I am the fucking liberal fucking media. I am the fucking Joe Rogan of the left. God damn it. I'm right here. I'm right here. Can't you fucking. I've been out here. I'm just waiting for that big, Peter Thiel scholarship. I'm ready to get boosted. One of my big takeaways from this book with Orson Welles is he's just out all the time. He knew Charlie Luciano. He saw him do this. He was at 21 with this person. He went to Chasen's. He was one of the original investors in Chasen's. He was just everywhere. He knew everybody. Got to get out of your house. Well, it's raining. It's Saturday night. It's raining. For some reason in New York, this is something people have noticed. Is it's like it's only raining on the weekends for like the past 3 years, basically since the pandemic. It's like it rains every fucking like summer weekend. It's like it's got to be weather seeding, cloud seeding. Just another fucking psyop, like the fucking roast comics and the algorithm. They don't want us to have any fucking fun. They don't want us. I mean, I have not had like. It's weird for me to like go out on a Saturday night. It's really been like fucking 10 years since I've had like any kind of like freedom. Really, I was in a relationship 2017 to 2020. Then the fucking pandemic. Then I was in another relationship. So now, anytime I'm like around like a group of people, I'm like this. I feel like this old person that's just like, whoa, this is fucking weird. You mean I can just like stay out and do whatever I want? Like it's taking time to. You really got to throw yourself into whatever the fuck you're doing. It's like you really don't get anywhere until you just do it like literally every fucking day, all fucking day. Like that's what I see these comedians do. It's like they go to every fucking open mic in the city. They go to this one, then they take the train, they go to this one, then they hit this one. It's like they're at 4 fucking open mics a day. It's insanity. But you got to get out there. You got to be seen. You got to meet people. You have to have experiences. You can't just stay at home and live stream and watch YouTube and TikTok. Not that that's all that I do. It's not. I'm not saying me. I'm not saying me. Uh what the fuck else is going on politically? Well, it looks like they are going to shoot this fucking. We got to get to that, of course. Everybody's waiting for the hot political takes. I know that's why people tune in. This is the Trump hater hour. It's for all the Trump haters out there. Well, it's just expert analysis. I feel like I'm the Professor Zhang of Bushwick. I'm the American Zhang, I'd like to believe. He has his high school. I love that he's a high school teacher, and then he just films his fucking like. This is what he's telling his students. His whole lecture is about how about AI is a demon. He's teaching this like in a high school class, like it's like factual. AI is a demon, all right, okay. Like sure. Um, Zhang, Professor Zhang, the man. He really wants to come to America and be on Tucker Carlson. He's had offers. He mentioned all these podcasts. He has had offers that he wants to be on, and he mentioned Andrew Schultz. He mentioned that Andrew Schultz had reached out to him, and he's very eager to come to America because he's a big fan. That was like a dagger to my heart. Professor Zhang knows who Andrew Schultz is. Am I gonna put this piece of shit? Put it here for once back. See if that stays there. Stay. I watched all of Professor Zhang and Tim Dillon on Piers Morgan. That's how right wing YouTube is. There's literally no alternatives. They don't suggest any of this fucking. Any liberal content. They don't suggest anything I'd actually want to see. Before I got on, I was watching this movie. I think it was a BBC movie. It had to have been. I can't believe I'd never heard of this. It was Tim Curry from Clue and Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I mean, one of the all-time greats, Home Alone 2, endless, Tim Curry, one of the all-time greats, as Shakespeare. It's the life of William Shakespeare. Tim Curry is playing Shakespeare. And so it's really amazing. I mean, the writing doesn't sound like Shakespeare necessarily, but it's more about the first episode, like, is about him and Christopher Marlowe and his sort of, and, there's not really a lot known factually about Shakespeare's life. So I'm sure it's all kind of just like made up, but I'm a sucker for that type of thing. You know me, I love lives of the poets. It's my favorite genre. And any kind of like made for TV movie about like a writer, particularly a poet, that's like my ultimate. I hope someday they make a made for TV movie about my life. That's my real dream. I want a made for TV mini series, like two-part, like ideally like 6 hours maybe. Like I don't know what's the modern equivalent of that. That maybe be like a Netflix limited series or like maybe a Tubi original. I don't know. We'll see. Like a Ken Russell style. So I don't know who directed this fucking movie or who wrote it or anything, but I saw Tim Curry as Shakespeare and I was like, I just like this kind of thing because it's just like a Cliff's Notes. It's one way, if nothing else, you're getting like visual information that's sort of, it's almost like seeing AI. It's almost like seeing an AI sort of like visualization of like, okay, this is probably not exactly how it went down, and like it's a little bit, you know, the writing could be a little better. I mean, it's about Shakespeare for crying out loud. um, But, I mean, it looks pretty cool. I think they shot it, like, at the Globe Theater or, like, it looks, like so visually and it's like I can put it on while I'm doing other stuff. I can be reading the Orson Welles book, and this is sort of on in the background, or, like, I'm working on some docs or something, some social media posts, whatever, what have you. So I encourage people to check out this, Tim Curry playing William Shakespeare. It's just kind of like it's an epic. I think it's 5 hours, 6 hours maybe. I think it's six 1 hour parts maybe. And I haven't gotten that far. I'm like probably two episodes in. And like I said, I'm not really watching it that closely, but it's interesting to see because it's sort of about like the context, of Shakespeare, which they could probably know a lot more about something like that. Like they know about Christopher Marlowe. Shakespeare apparently, there was a plague in sort of his early years in London, and he was a part of a theater company. They know about his theater company. They know about the actors. They know about where they did it, and so this film, this TV movie, is sort of like about that. William Shakespeare is just this guy who's the poet. There's a lot of great lines about poets. Christopher Marlowe, they can't put chains on your mind or something. You're a poet. He's like, they're gonna kill you too, man. They're gonna get you. They get you when you're young. When you're something like that. When you're a poet, they kill you when you're young. They're gonna kill you too, William Shakespeare. You're too fucking free. Your mind is too free, man. So they're gonna kill you, man. You're a fucking poet, Shakespeare. Well, he's an actor, right? Like Shakespeare started as an actor. So at the beginning of this fucking thing, he's just like an actor in the fucking thing. And then I think he starts as like an apprentice. And so the whole thing is about like, is this piece of shit he wrote gonna work for us or not? And he writes a piece, and I think it becomes like a big success. And they go, hey, this fucking guy's pretty good. They get psyched about it. They're like, shit, yeah, we were all a part of this hit play. We like this guy. Creates, we got the golden goose. Lay some more eggs for us. And you know how it is. Backstage, the fucking razzmatazz, the hullabaloo, the euphoria. You're part of a smash. I just think it's so pathetic how the cast's reaction is so based on like the public's reaction. Like listening to Orson Welles talk about these studios, it's like we had a test screening of the film in fucking Pasadena and they didn't like it. They laughed, and so we had to fucking like he's talking about Magnificent Ambersons. The studio had some test screening while he was gone, and the audience like laughed at the one part of it. So like, oh, we have to fucking change the whole movie. It's like that is fucking insane. Just because one stupid audience reacted some way, like a lot of these movies, it's like these Henry Aglen movies. The audience hates them still. A lot of the greatest art, nobody gets it. Nobody wants anything difficult anymore. They think difficult is just like pretentious. Everything, everybody wants they just want fucking stand up roast comedy and dumb fucking, I don't know, TikTok, IG Reel, fucking, I don't know. Dude, people are watching IG Reels. People are watching fucking YouTube shorts and shit like that. And so just be as sophomoric as you possibly can be. You have to appeal to like teenagers. Everybody is like a fucking idiot now. People are thinking like 12-year-olds or less. What is it? Everybody's got like a sixth grade reading level. That's where their minds are. They are sixth graders. Like they are literally sixth graders. That's how. That's the level that they're thinking at. So if you're not making content for sixth graders, people who are mentally, you know, however fucking old that is, 12, you're fucked. If you're making Henry Aglen movies, if you're making like these pretentious, see, My Dinner with Andre, they tape recorded conversations, but he edited them. My Dinner with Andre, you really, and all of Wallachon's stuff, you can really feel like the literary surface of it. His dad is the editor of the fucking New Yorker. You can read anything that Wallachon has written, and it's like reading prose. It's really incredibly rich to read. He takes a lot of care with his vocal tone. Wallachon he affects this kind of like relaxed, like quaint, like overly hospitable, like overly quaint, kind kind of tone. But the work has this like any of those plays, you can read them as text, and it's like reading Deborah Eisenberg or something. It's like it's cartoonish. The language is very specific, and you can read it out loud and it is a play, but like you can read it to yourself and it works just as well almost, to be honest. His plays are so fucking cerebral and they're like fucking New Yorker articles or something almost, or like short stories or something. And these Henry Yaglum films are more just like he actually just filmed real shit happening. He would make shit happen between the actors, or their relationships approximate some other thing that was going on, or you get some element that he's doing sort of paratheatrical work where he's like doing living theater, like all these people are hippies, and there's an element that he's like pushing them into stuff and just relying on their chemistry, relying on their personalities, their personal experiences, using that as material for the movie, putting it in the movie literally. Uh, like this scene with Larry David, and he probably just rolled the camera and just Larry David kind of do what he wanted to do. I would imagine he felt Larry David was interesting or would fit in his fucking cinematic universe, the Henry Yaglum cinematic universe. I mean, did he ever direct a Marvel? Could they get Henry Yaglum to direct like a Star Wars spin-off fucking thing, or what's the newest fucking thing? Mandalorian and Grogu or some shit? What the fuck even is that? That's what it's called? That's literally like the worst fucking name I've ever heard. This is my hater show where I just hate, 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 hate on everything Hollywood produces. Hey, it's what Orson Welles would do. He'd be right here on the internet. Could you imagine Orson Welles on fucking podcasts? He'd probably be in all the fucking Marvel movies. They'd have Orson Welles in every fucking Marvel movie if he was still alive. He'd be cashing his fucking checks, going to Europe, getting you know, ordering a bunch of entrees. I don't want to stay in Paris. It takes 45 minutes to get out of the city to go shoot at the studio. He likes Cinecittà. It's the best studio in the world. It was built by Mussolini. Not sure why that's important to him, but he likes Cinecittà. Yeah, some Mandalorian and Grey Goo or some shit like that. I mean, I gave up on the Star Wars shit a long, long, long. John Favreau, what are you doing, buddy? I guess somebody's got to fucking like make a Star Wars movie that's not a piece of shit, but none of it's legitimate as far as I'm concerned. It's all completely illegitimate. How dare they do this to fucking George Lucas? It's a fucking disgrace. It's a complete disgrace. I'll take Jar Jar Binks. When are they gonna make a fucking Jar Jar Binks like fucking spinoff? There's a character that we'd like to know some more of. I think I speak for all Star Wars fans when I say that like we want to know more. We want the Jar Jar Binks Netflix mini opera. Saturday night, everybody. Woo! So cool. This is what I'm doing on Saturday night. I'm making. I mean, goddamn. I wish I was an influencer. I would love it if I just could post myself and make fucking tens of thousands of dollars. That would be so fucking great. Oh, I'd love to make. I mean, I'd love to make six or seven or even eight figures as a live streamer. But let's try to make that happen. Okay, in the chat, everybody in the chat, let's try and manifest that. Yeah. So I don't know. Make comedy roasts illegal. Okay. When I'm dictator, I think Stephen Colbert should run for president. I think that's the only way he could. He has to. He has to upstage Trump, and I think he could win. Actually, I think he'd be better at being president than being host of the Late Show. Actually, I'd rather if Stephen Colbert were the president than hosting a late night show. To be honest, I just don't think I was glad that he was doing it. I mean, I do think it leaves a huge hole. It really is kind of sad, actually. It's kind of sad that like that's just gone. Like Trump was able to make that happen. Like that really is fucked up, and that sucks. That indicates like something very bad about our country and our culture. Like something deep needs to change. That should not be happening. Like that's like that's very dark. Isn't there a fucking scene in Shakespeare where they killed the fucking clown or something? Like that's like as dark as it gets when they kill like the jester character. I thought there was some scene where like the jester goes off stage and dies. I don't know. I don't know Shakespeare as well as these other fucking people do. I tried. I used to read Shakespeare. I was committed when I was a younger man. I was committed to like reading Shakespeare like as a regular part of my life. And then woke came along. I would say Shakespeare is woke. It can be interpreted in that way in some ways. But I don't. I mean, also just like poetically, it felt like probably good to explore other things for a little while. But it's always there, and I think I don't know. I'm more inclined to just like experience it like fucking YouTube. It's like there's a myriad of interesting productions of any Shakespeare play you want to see on YouTube. Or things like stumbling into fucking Central Park, right? They do the goddamn Shakespeare in the Park there. So I don't know. I've been kind of around it. It's in the air. It's in the ambiance, but it's also like it was a time when you're sort of questioning all that. Like, why the fuck do all these places do these goddamn shit? It's part of the monoculture. Is Shakespeare legacy media? He almost like transcends it or something because it's something that just like it exists uh, just on its own artistic merit or something. It exists in things like community theater productions, movies. There's a million fucking Shakespeare adaptations that I'm sure are playing at all times. Uh, I mean, people sort of know those characters, so they'll sort of quote it or this or that. It's sort of a part of everybody's. But is that propaganda? Is that a psyop? It's like the Bible. It's like Homer. It's like there's few things that are like that, but at least in our, that's probably part of our. It's part of our cultural indoctrination. It is part of the imperialism. And so you're questioning it. You're like, is Shakespeare just part of like the colonizer fucking, syllabus? And is it shaping the idea, I guess, with Shakespeare is it shows us what it means to be, as Harold Bloom says, the invention of the human. Shakespeare like invented our personalities or something, which is absurd, but uh it also felt like a lot of people are putting a lot of time and energy in putting this guy's plays on, and they're always relevant, and there's always a play that's fucking relevant to whatever situation you're in, and but is why not put on new plays? Why not put on original plays? Why not put on plays written by people in the community, about the community, or whatever? I guess there's a place for both. Uh, Shakespeare probably is a good like tradition. It's a good training ground for actors. It's a good place to examine our own humanity, for people to examine our own humanity. I mean, I like other playwrights too, but Shakespeare's plays have sort of a universality or something compared to, like, let's say Eugene O'Neill. Eugene O'Neill, these fucking plays, like some of these, like that play, was it Morning Becomes Electra, or one of those early plays? It's like fucking crazy how much dialogue there is. It's like as much as a Shakespeare play, but it's like written in the fucking 1920s. And that's one of the incredible things about theater that I think makes it what it is like the actors have to memorize all that shit. That's part of the magic trick, and the effect of it is like in that Eugene O'Neill play, it's like they're memorizing like thousands of lines of fucking dialogue. And it's complex, and there's a lot of syntax and specificity, and it's demanding on the actors. It's one of the last things I think in our culture that's like that, where it's like you have to memorize a bunch of shit. It's like half your job as an actor in a play. You can't forget your lines. It's scary. I mean, when I was in plays, I would be backstage saying my lines over and over and over and over and over and over. That's all I did. Because it was like, I do not want to forget a goddamn thing. And you sort of get too clinging to that you almost like, but it feels like plays today don't have that much language, probably. And I mean, screenplays are completely, it's encouraged that you make it as short as possible on every goddamn thing. And so, I don't know. I don't think Shakespeare's going to go away. It's still good business. There's still no improvement upon things like Romeo and Juliet, the big Midsummer Night's Dream, Othello, King Lear, the classics. You can put Timothy Chalamet in there, put him in Henry IV, right? Get Benedict Cumberbatch. There's a lot of juicy parts. But I don't know. Is it also just like a cliche, or is it just like, is it a tired source material? I don't know. It's just like it's such a like, there's 37 plays. It's like a full time job, just like learning Shakespeare, reading the plays, rereading them, being in productions. There's so many that are worth doing, that are worth studying, and it's a lot of work. It takes hours to figure out what every little thing means, or even to just sit through production. So it's nice to create an ambiance almost of just. Well, I don't know. I thought this would be an interesting way to fucking like connect with because I've been watching all these fucking Lives of the Poets videos and movies and shit. Like I said, there's these Ken Russell biographies, Samuel Johnson's Life of Boswell, or Boswell's Life of Johnson. I forget which. Um, there's great bios of like the Romantics. I forget what it's called. Something Cloud. The something Cloud. Ken Russell did a bunch of them, but I'm always looking for movies in general like this. And so watching one about Shakespeare that puts him kind of in the same like kind of frame. He's just another of the poets, and to just see him kind of emerge. This movie it happens kind of an interesting way. He's just another guy kind of in the company, and he kind of, through one thing or another, Marlowe recognizes his talent. And so he kind of, rises through the ranks, and bada bing. Next thing you know, he's an upstart crow, whatever. Uh, oh shit. Okay. I wanted to talk about the band Doctor Hook. Do people know Doctor? It's been coming up a lot in my fucking Spotify. I've got this stereo in the apartment, and it's like there's speakers built into the ceiling, and so you kind of have to play it really loud, but like it's a pretty good stereo. And I can connect to it through my Bluetooth. And so I figured out I've got Spotify on my phone. And even though I'm not a member, I can sort of choose what I want to listen to. They changed it. So you can actually sort of pick within the playlist a few times. And so a lot of what I've been doing recently is I just sit around just kind of like listening to music because the sound quality in these speakers is like pretty good. And I'm just this neighborhood is like such I can listen to it kind of not like really loud, but like I can listen to it pretty loud. It's like no one really is going to complain or anything. And so I just had my Spotify playlist on shuffle and have been kind of letting it randomly. I wanna be forced to listen to music that I haven't heard before, and I want it to wow me. I want to be pleasantly surprised. I want to hear things that I'm not just like playing over and over again because I'll throw a lot of stuff on the playlist that I pick up on TikTok or wherever, or hearing out in the world or Shazam or whatever, hearing other people play it, and it's a full time job just consuming media. It's a full time job watching fucking movies and listening to fucking music and reading and fucking and trying to create stuff at the same time, trying to write, trying to fucking live stream, trying to fucking make whatever. Uh, but I also think it's a weirdly rewarding thing to just like give your full attention to music, even though it's sort of a disembodied activity around the house. I don't know, especially on like a nice stereo. It's like fuck yeah, let me just listen to these songs and like appreciate them for what they are, all the space in the recordings. And so in any case, I think my algorithm is fixed because the other day it put Iggy Pop on board on twice in a row, two different tracks of the same song. and it keeps pushing "Do Wah Diddy Diddy Dum Diddy Do" on me. It keeps playing that fucking song, which I love, but it kind of killed it for me. And it keeps playing Doctor Hook. I don't know if people know the band Doctor Hook. Is Doctor Hook in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Maybe they are, but to me, other than maybe Tommy James and the Shondells, Doctor Hook, I think, is maybe one of the most underrated bands ever. Like Doctor Hook, I don't really hear people talk about Doctor Hook that much. They're not really that. They were friends with Shel Silverstein, and Shel Silverstein like kind of wrote a lot of their songs, or I think they lived on his houseboat, or I don't even know. I don't know exactly what the fucking connection there is, but that's even cool that that's And they all look like pirates and fucking bandoleros and shit. They look like cowboys. The one guy's got an eye patch. They look like they were drawn by Shel Silverstein. And they have that song Cover the Rolling Stone, which is like kind of a one hit wonder type thing. People probably know that song, maybe. But the song Sylvia's Mother, I think, is really incredible. They have a few songs. They have the song Sexy Eyes. They have a few songs that are like kind of classic fucking songs. And so I think Doctor Hook is kind of weirdly slept on. I think they're in a higher tier. They're like as good as, I don't know, some of these fucking like southern rock bands and shit. I don't know. They're as good as fucking. I mean, are they as good as the Allman Brothers? Like, probably not quite, but are they as good as the Doobie Brothers? Like, mm, Doctor Hook probably doesn't have quite as many classic songs. They were in a movie. There's this movie, Who is Harry Kellerman, which was written by this playwright Herb Gardner, who was also he was like a Shel Silverstein contemporary. He was a cartoonist who became a playwright, who was sort of like a beatnik in the Greenwich Village in the late 50s and early 60s. And he wrote this movie, Who is Harry Kellerman? And Shel Silverstein, I think, wrote the songs, and Dr. Hook like played the songs. So I don't know. The fucking the algorithm gods have been trying to get me to listen to Doctor Hook, so I'm bringing my message about Doctor Hook. They're like a country rock. They're sort of like Flying Burrito Brothers, but they're a little more rough around the edges. They're a little more, I don't know, rough and tumble or something. They're slept on. Doctor Hook, everybody. Put it in your playlist. Add it to your. They're sort of like Brewer and Shipley or whatever. They kind of sound like one toke over the line. Doctor Hook. But they have nice harmonies, nice musicianship. Um, Here's something I wanted I think bots should be illegal. The fact that our comment sections are just like freely overrun, and in fact, I think it's encouraged. I think the owners of these apps know that it's happening. Maybe not YouTube. Like YouTube, I don't really see that many bots, but like TikTok, it's fucking nuts. And Twitter, obviously, but TikTok in particular, every fucking comment section has got like just insane bot responses, and it really does. It's like a warfare. The a lot of the ideological warfare that has happened that brought us to this point, where January 6th, the treason, uh, uh, betrayers of our country are going to get like a cashola payout. It's partially because of bots in the comments. Bots are like they're just, or it's not even always bots. It's also just like there are literally people in other countries, foreign agents that are like in our fucking comment sections with like all of the fucking talking points, with like all of the fucking responses that you need to any kind of like uh liberal point of view. It's just there's a lot of weaponized commenting in fake accounts on TikTok in particular. And it's like, did they fucking police this? Did they just, is it just a free for all? Like, there should be some kind of fucking legislation, or I mean, I guess we've talked about this before, but like even forums and shit have like moderators. What about a TikTok comment section? What's going on there? Whatever happened there, huh? Can't they get the AI to do something? Have some kind of AI fucking spider, like fucking. Don't they have spiders that like, fucking scale the fucking web looking for this kind of behavior? I don't know. I don't know who's gonna save us. Like so many of like the responsible safeguards and like the conscientious government that we had in our society has been like dismantled. And not only that, but like handled in sort of like a derogatory way, to the point that I I, I don't even think people. I don't think we'll ever recover it, or people don't even realize it's gone or something. Like things like having Polymarket, things like having online gambling in your phone, having advertisement for drugs on TV. It's like that's. I think it's been popping up in my Spotify. It's like all these fucking ads for like Key Sympta and all this shit, all these prescription drugs and all these weird drugs. It's like that shit. It shouldn't just be a free for all. Like it's not good. There were things in our society that like protected the middle class. There was a middle class. Like most of the wealth in this country, that's what the middle class was. There wasn't wealth inequality. It's like I think it's something like 70% of Americans held the majority of wealth or something, some shit like that. And now it's like, the top 0.1% has fucking half the money, or we all know that it's absurd. It's like, well, that is a change that happened. Like I do think that there are things like the Heritage Foundation. The right has been extremely organized in its efforts to like undermine whatever functionally socialistic federal government we had. Any kind of like Great Society, Johnson era, Kennedy era, Roosevelt era. I think the Republicans saw what happened in the '60s with the hippies and love and rock and roll music and student protests and people becoming conscientious in some ways, and in other ways maybe not so much. And they said we cannot have the left wing take over in this fucking country. And in fact, we are going to take over. We're going to get rid of the federal government, basically. We're going to step in. We're going to privatize everything. We're going to reroute all of the fucking money. We're going to rewrite the tax code. We're going to rewrite the fairness doctrine. We're going to rewrite the ownership laws, the monopoly laws, the fucking trading laws. We're going to deregulate everything. We're going to cut taxes on the wealthy. And it's like that has all been policy. That's all been like, and Trump is sort of like the culmination of that plan. It's been incremental. It started with Nixon, then Carter, Reagan, Bush, NAFTA, 9/11, two wars, and now fucking Trump is sort of like the capper, the finisher, the guy who can sort of get the job done. And it's been a plan. The Heritage Foundation, these Republican think tanks, they're the ones that wrote Project 2025. They're the ones that it's been them sort of the whole time shaping that policy, shaping the strategy, who they were going to install, who they're going to put on the Supreme Court, how they're going to redistrict or whatever the fuck it is. The left doesn't seem to have a cohesive response to that, or like a unified, 75-year plan, let's say. And so Project 2025 and everything that's happening now is just sort of like the culmination of like them wanting to just basically, disimpair the federal government, reroute all of the money to, well, now it's just like openly to like their friends and shit, defense contractors, slush funds, his personal projects, building some fucking weird arch, building a bunch of fucking statues and tributes to himself. And so, it's shit like this that's what the federal government did. That's one of the things that it did was like prevent, like there were ethical standards. Biden did not fucking trade stocks. None of the goddamn presidents traded stocks while they were fucking president. None of them had a fucking, crypto named after themselves. I think I heard somebody say Trump wants to be the first trillionaire, or he wants to be a trillionaire. That's his goal now as president, is to make himself a fucking trillionaire and to just make as much goddamn money as possible. It's a smash and grab. But I mean, okay, so this fucking yeah, it's into the Trump hatred part of the show. Everybody's favorite part of the show. What do we hate about Trump this week? What did the son of a bitch do this week? Well, even the Republicans are like against this $1.8 billion payout. I mean, I saw one of these January 6ers talk about how the federal government should pay him $20 million, or was it $30 million? It was $20,000 a day for like every day he'd been in jail. It's like they definitely broke the law. Like no one was like punished unjustly for that. Like, well, the theory is he's trying to empower his army. These people are loyal to him. They've already proven that they will go to his fucking bat for him. These are the do or die MAGA psychos, the Jay Johnsons or whatever. I saw Jay Johnson's wife, the dude from Mr. Show. I don't know if it was her TikTok or what, but she was just talking about how January 6th like ruined their lives, because he was in January 6th, he got blacklisted by Hollywood, he got fired from Bob's Burgers and all this shit. It's like, yeah, because he committed treason and tried to overthrow the government on behalf of Donald Trump. It's like there are fucking consequences for your actions as an adult. Like you break the law, you're gonna lose your fucking job. It's not like bias. That's like pretty normal. There's pictures of the fucking guy there. Like these people did a bad thing. They deserve to be fucking shamed. They deserve to be like punished. They tried to overthrow the fucking government. At the very least, At the very least, it was breaking and entering on federal property. I'm sure there's all kind of fucking rules about that. Destroying property, stealing fucking property. Like law enforcement people died. Somebody's got to be responsible for that. Like, there's clearly shit that they broke the law. Like, and so, like, everything this administration doing, it's just like brazen. It's in plain sight where they're like, we're just gonna fucking do this. His family's never gonna be audited again. They're now immune to the IRS, which is how they brought down Al Capone, by the way. They have a force field around their tax returns, and it's like an old person's trying to like steal shit in front of you, and like you're seeing it, and you're like, no, you can't have that. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna give $1.8 billion to like all my friends and all these criminals who tried to like overthrow the government with me. We're just gonna do that. And even the Republicans are like, fucking hell no. I think. I don't know. It's all fucking theater. It's probably just to give them like a chance so they can look like they're opposed to it or something. It'll probably happen anyway. And then the other thing that happened, right, was this fucking guy, uh, Thomas Massey, or what, was a fucking senator? Was he a senator or was he a representative? I don't remember. He was a senator out of Kentucky or representative. I don't remember. He got fucking primaried by the Trump approved MAGA candidate. I don't know who the hell it was. But the guy that Trump backed beat Thomas Massey. And Thomas Massey was remarkable. I don't really know exactly his total fucking. I think he's just like a libertarian fuckface, but he was, the only Republican who was like anti-Zionist or whatever. He was sort of outspoken about his position about. I think he was MAGA. He was like a fucking MAGA politician, but he broke with Trump over the war and his perception that Trump was like selling us out to the Zionists or whatever. And he was pretty fucking adamant about. So he stood out among the Republicans in that he was like the one fucking dissenting vote on a lot of things. And even my mom was like, she doesn't like any of the fucking politicians. So of course she likes Thomas Massey. He was, he's sort of like a Bernie of the fucking right or something. Like that was probably a huge part of his campaign was like being no new wars, and then all the fucking sudden Trump was like starting these goddamn wars and the Epstein files. I think a big thing with Massey was like the Epstein files, releasing the files and this and that. And Trump hasn't exactly done that to his satisfaction, I don't think. And So I think he's been outspoken about how they should do that. But any case, it's kind of a fucking. I mean, how does it's a dark sign that fucking Trump supported candidates were able to primary this guy because at this point, who the fuck is listening to Trump? Like his approval rating, I think I saw was 31%, which it really feels like it should be lower than that. That feels high to me. Are we sure? What's the margin for error? And like they said, oh, Trump's, his poll ratings are as bad as Carter's. That tells you everything you need to know about like Democrat versus Republican standard. The standard that Democrats are held to versus the standard that Republicans are held to. It's like Jimmy Carter wasn't that goddamn bad. He didn't put us in a war. He didn't fucking cause the cost of living to fucking explode, cost of gas to explode. Like that was happening. There was inflation happening. It was a similar time in some ways, but it's like a lot of Trump's policies have been self-destructive. And just look at the way he fucking behaves and just who the fuck he is and versus like Jimmy Carter divested from his goddamn peanut farm. So it's hard to believe any of his fucking candidates or anything would win, but here we are. I mean, I think this Thomas Massey guy can still run as an independent or something, so there's a chance he might still win. But I mean, who the fuck knows? If he's an anti-Zionist, they may have just gotten, they may have cheated. They may have just gotten, Elon's fucking Starlink, fucking however they cheated in the election in 24. However, they stole the election in 24. We have to stop the steal. Stop the fucking steal. All right, so we did 2 hours. Is there anything else I need to talk about? I'm gonna wrap it up here pretty soon. Saturday night, I gotta watch more fucking Life of Shakespeare videos. Starring Tim Curry. Tim Curry gives a wonderfully understated performance as Shakespeare. So yeah, I mean, at least the corruption is like being sort of like universally acknowledged. The New York Times editorial board had an article, about how Trump's corruption is unprecedented or whatever. So, despite they're justifying a lot of the shit that he's doing, and, him getting away with a lot of things, at least they're calling him out on this. But so the idea, I guess, is he's trying to give money to all these people that like ride or die for him because he's building sort of like a private army of January Sixers, ICE agents, MAGA psychos. And so when he loses the election or gets impeached or whatever the fuck, when he has his kind of Scarface like showdown final death scene, when we have him surrounded in his ballroom, all of his loyalist army, the January Sixers, the twisted metal juggalo psycho people, the MAGA people, they're all gonna go to the White House and they're gonna, they're gonna have guns, they're gonna have whatever, Kevlar. They're gonna have drones. He's already talked about his drone fucking empire or whatever. The new ballroom's gonna have a drone factory and shit like that. I don't know. I haven't figured out what drones are because Elon fucking schooled his ass. He's like, oh yeah, my new ballroom's got a drone factory. We have so many drones. Drones are just gonna do everything. Drone, drone, drone. Drone is just so fucking great. So look for that. And what that'll be January 6th, 2029. January 6th, The Revenge, Part 2. 9 years to the day. Or 8 years. I guess it was 8 years. 8 years later. The recount. January 6th, Part 2, The Recount. Only this time he's got his fucking fortress. He's got Fortress Trump. He's got his drone army. Try and come after him. Try and get his ass. He's gonna have AI drone bodyguards. They'll piece you up. They'll piece you the fuck up, man. Saturday night, everybody. Woo! Think I'm just gonna stay at home and bitch about the president on the internet. That's my idea of a good time. Well, it's like raining and I don't know. I don't have an umbrella. Okay, time for a cupcake, everybody. Is that the second cupcake I've had? Go sit down for a minute. See if there's anything else I want to crack into. Before we're here, thank you guys for watching and spending your Saturday. It's 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock Saturday night. We're spending it together. What else? Hold on, let me get my thing here. Charles Law. I knew Charles Law. He was a gay. He was afraid they were going to find out he was being gay. He was going to be outed. See, it's like a cold, rainy night. It's a cold, rainy Saturday night. Not that that should stop us, but we're at the Red Room on Monday. Oh, part of what Orson Welles was talking about was he said they would go and see about 20 or 30 minutes of a bunch of different movies, and that was kind of enough. Which is kind of what I don't know. That's kind of what I do. To me, it's like I put things on while I'm asleep or while I'm going to sleep or while I'm writing or something because I almost just want to get a sense of it. It's like it's better to see 20 minutes of a movie than to not see any of it. And it's like sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes it's like I don't know. With writing it's like that too. It's like you keep wanting there to be like some kind of sense of completeness or some kind of like really big payoff. But it's like sometimes there's only a few passages in a book that are really like gonna juice you up. And a lot of times you just find them sort of intuitively. And with movies, it can be like that too. Like there's certain scenes or certain parts about it. Like there's this movie, Willie and Phil. It's a Mazursky movie. It's sort of underappreciated. I encourage. It's on fucking YouTube. I encourage people to watch Willie and Phil. It's a remake of Jules et Jim, the Truffaut movie, except it's transposed to like Greenwich Village. And so it's a really great. I mean, Mazursky is maybe the best. He might be the best Greenwich Village filmmaker, to be honest. He may have put like the West Village on film better than any other filmmaker, maybe. It's possible. His movies really feel like the West Village or something in a way that I don't know. Maybe Sex in the City. I don't know. But in any case, watch Willie and Phil. The actors are I don't really love either one. I think one of the actors is from Twin Peaks. He's Harry Truman. He's Sheriff Truman on Twin Peaks. But the real star of the movie is Margot Kidder. She plays the Jean Moreau part. And it's just really cool. The way he shoots Washington Square, Bleecker Street, that whole area. You can tell he lived it and he knows it, and uh, the cinematography is incredible. The movie itself, like a lot of the things that I like, it's probably low impact and sort of like hit or miss. It's probably uneven, maybe. It's probably not like as great of a fucking like unified masterpiece, or I don't know. It doesn't jump off the screen like Down and Out in Beverly Hills or something. There's no stars, but Margot Kidder is incredible. It's sort of like it's a weird bygone era. Like it's the late 70s. It's still like a lot of Mazursky stuff is sort of about the 60s and the sexual revolution and the kind of new mores of dating and hooking up and this and that. And then so this movie is like the very end of that, where it's like sort of AIDS is about to happen and the 80s are about to happen and sort of yuppie. It feels like one of the last kind of new Hollywood like hippie movies or something. And you can feel that kind of cocaine 80s like workaholic energy starting to like creep in. But it's interesting to see this movie that's like a pretty faithful. It's not a total remake, but um, anything Mazursky you got to see. He doesn't miss really, and he's on Sopranos. He's in the executive game. So Sopranos is sort of giving Mazursky the nod as an influence that's in there. I think that's worth. They call back to Bogdanovich, right? Bogdanovich is Dr. Melfi's psychiatrist, which is sort of a subtle nod to Orson Welles, right? Because Bogdanovich was such an acolyte of Orson Welles, even though Welles couldn't stand him because all he was a bore. All he did was talk about himself. Peter Bogdanovich, give it a rest already. But Yaglam kind of defends Bogdanovich, and is Yaglam on Sopranos? Did they ever have Henry Yaglam in a cameo? I think David Chase like really wanted to be an indie filmmaker. I think he wanted Sopranos to be like a '90s like indie film. He wanted it to sort of be like a little bit Pulp Fiction, a little bit Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, or Boondock Saints. Not like artistically, but just like I think he wanted to be sort of in that market or something. He wanted to be like a cool indie filmmaker, like his movie, not Fade Away or whatever the fuck it is. I haven't seen it. But Sopranos is like, it's a movie that's 100 hours long or whatever, and it's also a sitcom and it's also a therapy show, and Bogdanovich is on it somehow. Fucking Peter Bogdanovich is in it with his little fucking snide self-aggrandizing. And Mazursky. Mazursky's at the executive game. He's no fucking snob. He's not a therapist. He's a high roller. He's a personality. He's a charismatic with David Lee Roth. What else? What else is going on in real life? That's not a fucking political movie. Anything? Well, I can't really talk about what's going on. Not, whatever. It's not interesting. Just, well, we're back in the red. Well, we're in the red room Monday. It's Bob Dylan night. So come on out. I don't have that many signups to be honest. So here's your chance. It's Memorial Day, right? Isn't it Monday? Feels weird that it just feels like Memorial Day should be later, but it is this Monday. June has 5 Mondays in it, which is unusual for a June, I would say. What are we gonna do without Colbert? It's fucking crazy. I feel like there is like a hole in New York City now. What are they gonna do with that theater? And who that show is just gone. That show is like for comedy people, for comedy world. Colbert's been a part of like the New York comedy fucking, even though he's just another dickhead from Chicago. I feel like if you really want people to notice you in New York, you just have to go to Chicago. For whatever reason, all of the fucking they pick all of their fucking people from Chicago. It's like the SNL talent scouts go to Chicago. They don't go here. They're not like going to fucking clubs in fucking Bushwick. They're not going to fucking, East Village Comedy Club or whatever. They're going to Chicago to get fucking lame improv douchebags. I mean, when I watch Colbert dance, I'm like, this looks like bad improv dancing. Like all the improv culture is like yes anding and everything is cool. It's like no, it's not. These white people should not be doing this. These white people from Wisconsin who moved to Chicago to be like at Second City should not be dancing like this. They should figure something else out. And yet, I mean, where I come from, I probably should have done that. I probably should have gone to fucking Chicago, and not that I mean that Second City thing. Jesus Christ, it's like everything else. It's just a fucking nightmare. It's like there's so many fucking people trying to do it. People from my college went to Chicago and had some degree of success at Second City, where like they had shows or they were part of some weekly thing, but it's like I don't know anybody that necessarily ever worked their way up to like the main stage or even like I knew people in New York that were like in the touring company of like UCB shit, which like if you were in your fucking 20s or that would be a pretty fucking cool job to like tour a bunch of colleges doing goddamn improv. But there were so many goddamn people trying to do it, and it was so it's like how the fuck does somebody like Stephen Colbert even break through at a place at Second City? They said he sold T-shirts and like he worked in the box office and shit. It's like, well, I did that here, and then whatever. It didn't really add up to anything, but uh there's like thousands of fucking people taking these dumbass improv classes, and it's like you gotta, and it's so fucking hard. Learn. I was like, to be honest, I sucked at it. I was not good at. You barely had any fucking time in the scene. I was terrified to even go into the scenes. To be honest, I was very afraid to step into the scenes because I was so fucking nervous, and I was terrible at it. I had a few good improv scenes, and I don't know. It was just like it's so you have to pay so much to like go to the fucking like practice fucking place and like be with a bunch of weirdos who are like in the middle of an afternoon, like who are at improv practice. This is like fucking insanity. What? Who do these people? We think we're gonna be like the next Kate McKinnon or something. All these people think they're gonna like somehow end up on The Office. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's like the people. I don't know. You have to start doing that like probably when you're in fucking college. To be honest, if you're not like in your improv, I never did it in college. And you got to figure it's a lot of you got to have a lot of just like doing it. I think to get comfortable doing it. And but a lot of I mean, fucking Colbert, it feels like that show has attachments. You know, the writers from that show, or Amy Sedaris or whoever, Paul. They might come and do a UCB thing, or that was sort of like maybe someplace you could go up to, like if you were a comedy industry professional, you could get a spot on Colbert maybe, or like maybe even get like a writing job, or it was an aspirational legacy media fucking powerhouse, and it's just bam. Now it's with Comics Unleashed. You have to build your own powerhouse through your fucking stupid podcast. So, good night, sweet prince. Colbert, he looks liberated, but I don't know. He'll like his thing said, hello, goodbye. It's like this is a beginning. I'm sure he'll just pivot to some kind of he'll get probably some kind of massive podcasting deal right away. And he can choose to do it how he wants to do it. Maybe he'll get some kind of space, or maybe he'll just do it from his fucking pajamas or whatever. I mean, the Colbert fucking fans are hungry. He gets to be a martyr, which I'm sure he loves too. He got to have his like ego tripped out fucking retirement tour. It's hard to believe it's over. Oh my god, that's so fucking sad. What are they gonna do with his space? What are they gonna do with the Ed Sullivan Theater? It's the end of an era. Fuck, man. What are they gonna do? They're gonna turn it into fucking Gutfield uh studio. Is Andrew Schultz gonna buy it? Are they gonna turn into some kind of podcasting? Is it a fucking landmark, or is it? No one fucking cares. It's Saturday night. I've only got one person watching. I've got 20. Hold on. What should we do now? What else should we bitch about? Bruce Andrews said that Colbert was the smartest man in America. I think that's what he said. When I read with Bruce Andrews at Readings, I think that, what was that, 2024? Maybe that was 2024. Uh, he said my thing reminded him of Meanwhile, which is a segment on Colbert. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. I think he said Colbert was the smartest man in America. And now he's fucking canceled. Should have been Jimmy Kimmel, man. It really sucks. That really sucks. Fucking. It's insane. I can't believe it's real, actually. I'm in shock. I don't think it's really set in. It's one of those things that, like, you knew it was coming, but it didn't quite feel like it was a real thing until now. It's insanity. They fucking canceled his ass. And that last episode was just such a weird Day of the Dead ceremony. It was like dancing skeletons. It was a joyous, like, funeral type thing. A happy, sad, a hello, goodbye. You say hello, and I say hello. You say goodbye. Insanity. They fucking nailed it. The son of a bitch nailed it. I've been working on my book and sending out submissions. This is something I'm trying to make more of a regular part of my practice, sending out submissions to this and that. I sent out a couple submissions. I don't know what the fuck have I been doing. That does take a lot of work. It takes a lot of work to go through, like, because you can't send, like all these publications, they say the same thing. No simultaneous submissions. What a simultaneous submission means is you can't send the same poems to two different things. And so you have to send different work to most things. And, to be honest, they all have different sensibilities. They're different, like there was this one I submitted to Jefferson Market Magazine Library. So it's like, they're local, it's just a local zine, but it's like, so I have some pieces that are sort of site specific to the area that might be of interest to them. So tailoring it to the where you're sending it, being a little bit familiar with their aesthetic, with what they're into, and sending them things. You want to try to give them something that they're gonna want to use. Give them something that they can't say no to. You want to give them something that they're going to go, oh yeah, we want this in our magazine. We have to have this. This is undeniable. Thank you for sending this to us, for making our jobs easier. Not that I have a whole lot of pieces like that, but you want to get as close to that as you can. And so I have been, and it's also like I've got this fucking, I've got 500 fucking pages of potential. Plus, there's also considerations of like length. Most of these publications, they're looking for something that's like a half a page, maybe a page or two at most. Most publications are not looking for a poem that's probably longer than 3 pages tops. There's certainly not like a lot of my pieces that I've been writing recently, and I like this. I like that I've evolved into this. A lot of my more recent pieces are like short story length. They're 12 pages or 14 pages or 20 pages. They're almost like short stories, except they're composed like poetry. I like that. I like that space. That's sort of a poem with prose. It's a reading length and a publishing length that's like a short, but you know a lot of these publications will publish short stories. Why won't they publish a poem that's 16 pages, a or 8 pages, let's say, or 12 pages? It's like that's not that long for a short story. And I try to cover the same amount of ground, but in kind of a collage soup of reference and jokes and whatever. Short attention span theater, mental theater. and try to make it entertaining and as artistic as I can. And so you just look at the stuff that they've published, look at what they're probably looking for. But like I said, this has not been a part of my process really regularly, like ever. Every couple years, I'll get sort of like in the mood to like submit a bunch of things, and I'll do it. And I usually get one or two things published. Like I'm not. I do get rejected, but like I definitely get things published pretty regularly. And even the past few years, I've had things published in a lot of different places without even really having to like look. But now I don't know, I'm more in a I feel like it's a way to get the ball rolling. It's a way to get the work out there and people take it seriously. If they see that you're in a magazine, if they see that you're published in this or that, it flicks a little switch in them and they go, "Oh, okay." They can take a closer look at what you're doing. And like I said, I've got a lot of material backed up that I can send out. And so I've been going through my manuscript trying to pick the right, because like I said, I want to make each submission as strong as I can for each thing. I'm trying to be strategic about where I send things and make sure that like I have some chance. Some of them it's like a little bit of a stretch, but who knows? You might as well. The worst thing they can do is say no, basically. And like, who cares, really? I'm old enough that it's too late for me anyway. And so it doesn't even fucking matter at this point. I should have done this fucking 10 years ago. But I also feel comfortable with my work to the point that, like, I think there is a lot of value you know, in a lot of the pieces. And if they just pick one of them, like uh, it's like, that's exciting. It's exciting just to have anything out there. And so I'm older now. I've got more experience. I'm more schooled in whatever it is that I do because I've been a part of this world. I've been around, you know, other poets a lot. I've gone to a lot of fucking readings. I've done a lot of readings. The only thing I don't really do, I've typed up a lot of stuff. I'm always typing up things and sort of, if not perfecting it. I wouldn't say a lot of the things that I have are like perfect, but there's some percentage of them that are like that could be published. I think in some kind of journal, they have some kind of merit, and they're different from what other people are doing a lot of times. Uh, but they're fun, they're relevant, there is, some of them I don't know could be a little bit worked on more or perfected or something, but uh, you never fucking know. You don't know what the fuck these editors are gonna like to respond to. A lot of times, the things they pick surprise you, or you think, I'm never gonna hear anything from these people. They hated all of it. I look at some of the other shit they publish, and I'm like, I don't really fucking care if they pick me or not because they obviously don't know what the hell they're doing anyway. They should pick me because I'm better than anything on their fucking website. But if they don't, it's no skin off my ass because they don't know what they're doing. Like I am a snob about poetry and literature. Absolutely, it's probably my defining personality characteristic. That is the hill I'm ready to die on. Okay, I'm ready to die on this hill of being a snob about poetry and literature because most people don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's like he said in that Basquiat film. There's only like 5 or 6 people in the world that know anything about painting, and Andy's one of them. That's how I feel about poetry. It's like there's not that many people that really know what the fuck they're looking at. but there's also a lot of different tastes, like there are people that are experts in poetry that's like more immediately affecting, and like things that are like more performance oriented, like slam poetry. That stuff is a craft in and of itself. And like those people are like really good at what they do. I'm not like hating on what they do. Like there's totally a legitimate world of that. It's more popular than what I do by far. And there's a place for it. But it's just like uh that's not really what I am trying to do. And there's a lot of different styles of poetry out there, and they're like big proponents of certain techniques and things, and a lot of it is political and is tied to like these big university programs and academic journals and big kind of publishing powerhouse anchor positions and things. And I just try to do what I believe in and how I respond to the world using my own ideas, and also aware of what other people are doing out there too. I do see what other current writers, to some degree. I don't read every fucking thing, but I will, and I don't obsess over it. At least not, I don't read like every fucking cool online journal, or I don't totally follow. I would take a brief look at a lot of things, whatever, soft house fucking reading or something. But I'm more or less just like going to the park and looking at the trees, and that my poetry has more to do with that. And responding to the contemporary world through like a screen, I guess. The panopticon of the Nickelodeon of TikTok. And the work is kind of a TikTok of the mind, sort of like mental TikTok, the mind's eye. Um, and so, I'm looking through my book and I'm like, I didn't, most of these poems, there's like a story. I remember where I read it. I remember, instance somebody liked it, or I gave this person this book, or it was about them, or whatever. Most of the poems in the book have some kind of like place where they were made real. But like I said, these writing to submit to a journal to be published is like, it's like a style in and of itself. Like if you write poems that are half a page long, like sonnets or three-quarters of a page, that's a more kind of amenable length to a lot of different mediums or whatever, forums. Uh, that's not to say, I mean, their journals will publish different things, different links, different, uh, and so you could, but I think certain poets like are geared to that. A lot of poetry is geared to be like anthology poems or journal poems to be published in these fucking like academic reviews, and there's a certain feel to it. There's a certain pseudo soulfulness or rigorous kind of like MLA standard, and I just don't fit in with any of that. And so I try to be strategic about what I'm submitting to. I like, I submit to things that generally I want to be a part of because I see what they already publish and like maybe it's aspirational. I mean, I know what I could do could have more heightened language. It could be tighter, it could be more impactful. I just gave up on all that stuff. My books are like fucking travel. They're like, I don't know. I mean, I'm proud that I have it. It's like the haiku log of my journey. Everything that happened to me is in this fucking book. And I'm glad that I did this with my life. It was an idea that I had. Who knows if anybody else, but I think there's a lot of pieces that can be excerpted, and a lot of it already has been published. A lot of this book is already in fucking. There's poems in fucking KGB Lit Journal and Lonesome and Ashley Zines and fucking what else? Other shit probably too. I can't think of right now. But like I said, I really haven't been geared to that. I don't go out of my way. People have to beg me to get this stuff generally. They have to really hound me because I'm such a fucking pain in the ass. I can't. It's an email. Like I said, it's a lot of work actually. It's more work than you would expect putting together these little submission packets of like however many pages, 7 pages, 10 pages, 3 poems, whatever the fuck the requirements are. You have to make sure all your fucking punctuation, you got to make sure it's all right. And you have to choose the right pieces for the right people. You can't overlap. So you got to go through all of your shit. And sometimes it's just hard to look at it that closely all the time because you're also just like, you know what, most of this shit is probably not ready. It's not really finished. It's just something I sort of tossed off into my notebook. That's the way I write. It's a one and done thing. It's like I'm off. Clint Eastwood only does one take, they said, in his fucking movies. Clint Eastwood has been directed for, he's been nominated for how many Best Picture and Best Director Oscars in the last 25 years? Like a lot. Clint Eastwood's probably been nominated more than anybody. And I've seen a good amount of his movies. He's like an objectivist. There's a simplicity to them. That there's something with motion pictures, there's something to be said for that. And they say Clint Eastwood does one fucking take of everything. He what's the point in doing more? I kind of am down with that. Maybe like I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I don't most of my experience, it's either something that like you really have to work on a lot. If there's some kind of special shot you're doing where there's like a complex camera move and there's a bunch of timing things, generally that kind of stuff, like it takes a few times to get it right. But if it's just like a fucking, like dialogue scene, it's like you're probably not gonna do it fucking better. Maybe do 3 or 4 takes tops. Like doing like 12 fucking takes or like David Fincher, all these directors. I think Kubrick do like 100 takes? In Fincher, it's like the same thing. He'll do like 80 fucking takes. It's like go fuck yourself. I've heard they do it so like the actor just like gets bored and just or like I don't even know. They at some point they just sort of like start doing less or they start doing what the director wants. I don't know. That sounds fucking insane to me and like a tremendous waste of fucking time and resources. But I also think that's one of the fun things about movies is like each director kind of has their own method and setup. This Orson Welles said he liked to work from 4 p.m. to like midnight or whatever. Okay, to each their own. I can feel that schedule. That sounds pretty good. You know, he has to go to lunch at Ma Maison and have the fucking I don't even know what the hell they order. What the fuck does he order in this book? Does he have some kind of chicken thing? Uh so I'm trying to make this more part of my practice. I think if you're a serious, I don't know, you can't deny that part of the fucking thing. That's like it's just you have to submit yourself for people's judgment. You know, ultimately there is a yes or a no, and some people get rejected, and you just got to try harder and keep submitting. And it's not a big deal, you know. Any kind of artistic anything, it's subjective for one thing, and there is a lot of politics involved, and status and clout, and who you know, and blah blah blah. Whose dick you sucking on? You know, bunch of bullshit. That's partial. I don't know. I find the process barbaric, generally speaking. It says so in my book. Publication is barbaric. You can see me struggling with the issue, and so but I've gotten to the point where it's just like, hell with it. Who cares? Well, I got accepted to that fucking Scene magazine. I was in that Scene magazine, so that gave me a little confidence. I'm like, okay, I got an acceptance. Shit. Okay, well maybe just keep going. Fucking keep going. Why not? Just got to get out there. You just got to keep working harder. Keep, listening for the bluebird. That's what Orson Welles said about Charles Lawton. He was trying to locate the bluebird, and he did. I think that's what we're all trying to do. So we're back in the red room on Monday. I'm not really sure. Maybe they have a party downstairs. They might have some kind of private party or something. I was planning to do like this big all-star jam downstairs. I was planning to do like all of the most cliched Bob Dylan like Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like do Knocking on Heaven's Door. I got it down. I think You Ain't Going Nowhere, maybe Maggie's Farm. Do All Along the Watchtower. You could definitely get a bunch of guys with rhythm guitars playing All Along the Watchtower. It's only two chords basically, so I thought in the downstairs theater that'd be perfect. We'd have our Bob Dylan night, and we could get maybe somebody on drums, somebody on keyboard, a bunch of guitar players playing All Along the Watchtower. We could teach everybody how to play it. Anybody who had a guitar, just be like, come on stage. We're gonna play All Along the Watchtower. It's A minor and F. That's the whole fucking song. There must be some kind of way. And there's a bunch of Bob Dylan songs that are like that. They just basically do the same fucking thing. It's very simple over and over again. Knocking on Heaven's Doors like that. And they really lend themselves to just get 12 rhythm guitar players on stage, all playing big open chords, G, D, A minor. It'll be epic. I guess I can still do it in the red room, but it felt like downstairs. We obviously can't have a drum set. We can't have There's no bass amp. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It's nice to bounce back and forth between the two. You know, we were in downstairs for the last 2 weeks. We were in the Red Room May 4th. We were downstairs for the last 2 weeks. It's Memorial Day, and we're back in the Red Room. And then I don't know. Maybe the rest of the June we'll be in the theater. Who knows? Onward and upward with the arts, everybody. So bring your acoustic guitar out, your harmonica rack. Get ready for the Bob Dylan All Star Jam. We're gonna play Watchtower, Maggie's Farm. Knock, knock, knocking on it. And the rule is, as many people can play Knocking on Heaven's Door as they want. Okay. In fact, every single person has to play Knocking on Heaven's Door. You have to do at least 4 bars. We have to hear your rendition. Every single performer, poet, comedian, whatever. You all have to play knocking on heaven's door. Knocking, knocking, knocking on heaven's door. Let me write that down. That's pretty. That won't be funny on Monday. See, the thing is, you have to think of it at the time. Let's see what else. Joker Man. So I've got some karaoke shit I'm gonna do. Well, see, now I'm not gonna have as much time because we have to start later. I mean, I didn't have that many signups to be honest. I still don't have that many signups for Monday. So I don't know what it is. Usually these 3-day weekends we get a good. There's always a different crowd because it's a 3-day weekend, and so it's like, yeah, certain people might not be there, but there's always people that show up that like kind of are out from nowhere. You're like, okay, they're here because it's a 3-day weekend or something. So who knows? Maybe we'll still get them. It's fucking Memorial Day. How are we feeling about that, everybody? You ready to cash a big check for all the most treasonous fucking people who broke the sacred laws of our Constitution and tried to fucking overthrow the government? Kill Nancy Pelosi? I need $30 million. I'm the QAnon shaman. My life has been ruined. Yeah, because you're a piece of shit. That's what the fucking judicial system is for, is to punish people who break the fucking law. Like, you're never gonna convince me like that wasn't like extremely illegal. Like maybe it wasn't so far as an insurrection. That's debatable, I suppose. But it was definitely seditious behavior at the very least. I mean, to argue anything else is like absurd. Like those people were extremely, extremely, extremely out of line and beyond the limits of like what is legal and permissible. They certainly don't deserve any kind of fucking like settlement from the government at all. They deserve whatever the fuck happened to them. But now they're going to be given a fucking bonus. They're getting a Christmas bonus. Trump wants to reward their loyalty, and he wants to, get them full of resources so they can fucking get strong. Maybe help hire their friends. Wants to buy their fucking loyalty. It's a disgrace. It's a fucking disgrace. I'll take this Chicago. It's a fucking disgrace. Is there anything else? I go to 10 o'clock. Yes, I'll do 6 more minutes. Thank you guys for watching. Uh, yeah, I mean, the McCartney thing was so obvious in retrospect. I can't believe that I didn't call that because it was just too perfect. The Ed Sullivan Theater and the fact that he was in town, it's just like it's so obvious now. And it was too good of a moment for them to pass up. I think McCartney loves that type of thing. Like when he flew in to play the Billy Joel last play at Shea thing, right? Like Billy Joel played the last concert anybody did at Shea Stadium, and there's some story about McCartney like flew in and he had to have a police escort, and like he barely fucking made it. It was sort of a miracle of timing. This was a similar thing. Like McCartney's always had good timing, and it's a weird thing, but you can't underestimate the importance of that. Like good timing. I have horrible timing. I am always see with what I usually do with these submissions is I submit to things way too late. There's a point where like people get really excited and they're like, "Oh yeah," and if I were to submit then, they'd be like, "Yeah, we'd love to publish you." But then you sort of like the excitement blows over, and then you're just sort of another guy, or like you maybe even have ruined your relationship with somebody by making it weird, or just like keeping this weird suspended. And so then you try to submit to them, and they're just like, I don't want to publish this fucking weird guy. Nobody likes this guy. And his poetry sucks. Fuck this guy. Say la vie. You don't get any of my legendary poetry. I mean, like I said, I'm looking at my book and I'm like, a lot of this shit is already in scenes already. And so would I like to be in like, the next tier or whatever? Would I like to be in American Poetry Review, or what's that fucking there's just one what is it? Fucking not Epiphany. I was gonna submit to Epiphany. It's $5. A lot of these fucking places they have like merit based waivers for low income. That's the newest political. Now that wokeness has sort of like been folded into like class awareness to some degree. All of these submission, they have these fee waivers for their first 200 low income or income impaired submitters. Of course, I always miss it. Everybody else fucking already took all of them. So it's $5 to submit to Epiphany. I'm not going to pay money to submit to anything. I'm sorry. Like, that's just not, that's insane. Like, you can submit to the fucking Paris Review for free. And yet, you're going to charge me a $5 reading fee for your fucking shitty little, like, online magazine or whatever. Like, I don't think so. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. If you even get a few things, it's like it's I don't know. It's just something. It's like you kind of gotta keep that part of your life active. I think as a poet, especially, you have all these poems. You can kind of pepper them in a number of different things. That's sort of your job. In the same way, like if you're an actor, your job is to just like get in movies. You should just be in stuff as all the time. You know, if you're not in something, you should be auditioning for things. Like, if you're a musician, if you don't have a gig, you should be out playing open mics. You should be busking, whatever. I think I prioritize like the readings too much. And the thing is, a lot of times it's the fucking publication that dictates the reading. If you get published in something, they have a launch reading or whatever. It's like you're gonna read at the fucking launch reading. Or, you know, somebody's gonna read you in the fucking thing, and then you're gonna be like, "Oh, I'll book you on my thing." I was like, if you just go and do a bunch of fucking open mics, you're just kind of a weirdo. Well, it's sort of like you're putting the cart before the horse or something. You know, it's like I think the open mic can help you become a better writer in a weird way. Or I don't know if better, but like it can help you get in touch with the writing community if that's what you want to do. Oh my god, I got 3 people fucking watching. I got a lot of responsibility to this audience online. And Saturday night, I got to keep these people entertained. They've chosen to spend their hard. These are moments of their life they've decided to spend with me. It is my responsibility to keep them entertained, to blow their minds. I mean, to me, this is the future of show business. That's why I fucking do it. There's like an intimacy and like a mental exploration that I think happens through, at least for me, for live streaming. Live streaming is like a blank canvas, and you can get on and explore topics, respond to our real human situation, the living habitat of civilization, politics, cultural change, inside baseball. You know, I do like talking about literary business, you know, or whatever, scene politics. I like using it as a community message board for the open mic, making announcements that way. I like talking about shit that I'm watching. It's a movie podcast, like on cinema or music or whatever it is, art. It's criticism. This is criticism. I'm a critic. I'm an art critic. So what I talked about, what Mazursky films, Henry Yaglum, Orson Welles, of course. You know, Orson Welles seems so much more formal. You know, Henry Yaglum's films are so production wise, they're not full of a bunch of fucking, you know, camera tricks or he has some interesting editing techniques that are pretty postmodern or something. I don't know. But you know, something like Citizen Kane is just like he had a huge budget and he had final cut. And so he could let his imagination run wild. Uh Henry Yaglum, you get the impression, is just sort of like running and gunning, almost like cinema verite or the Males brothers or something. Fucking Frederick Wiseman. You can tell he's probably inspired by New Wave, but there's also something kind of like theatrical, I don't know, Jewish intellectual, European, or he's is he Austrian or so it's pretty obscure. I mean, I feel like I do feel like some kind of archaic cultural archetype where like, do they even make hipsters anymore? Like the internet encourages, you know, infinite kind of trivia and all of these, like even be able to see these Henry Yaglum films. Like they're all on fucking YouTube practically. Or like there's Mazursky films on fucking YouTube. It's like it's crazy. You can just watch that shit on your phone for free. It's absolutely insane. Without a fucking streaming platform or anything. It's a golden age, is what I'm saying. It's a Library of Alexandria. I wish I had it when I was in fucking high school. If I would have had this when I was fucking 15, that's why I have to watch it now. Uh, I wish I would have seen A Safe Place when I was 15. Or, it's just interesting that I never connected the Orson, because they're not, like I said, they're not a logical connection. You don't look at Orson Welles movies and think Easy Rider, you know, even though there's that movie Wells Hopper. Like when Easy Rider came out, there probably was some feeling like, hey, maybe Dennis Hopper is this like it was his first movie, right? And I think it won the Palme d'Or. I'm addicted to these fucking ginger dumplings. I'm addicted to these things. I cannot get enough of these fucking pork and ginger dumplings. It's practically all I eat. Practically all I eat these days. Like Orson Welles. You probably fucking love these things. Give me 30 orders. Oh my god. Okay. So yeah, it's a potpourri. It's a stew of all of the various mental projects I'm trying to unload, trauma dump. Talking about child roast comedians, uh, Trump slush fund for Jan 6th, criminally persecuted victims. Poetry submission culture, uh, baby steps, just baby steps. Trying to stay artistically active, trying to create, memorialize the news. Time, the Colbert thing does feel momentous. I mean, if anybody who watches my vlogs, knows that like I walk by that Colbert Theater. It's an anchor. It's a psychological anchor in the city for a kind of libtarded, boomer coded. You know, it's the Ed Sullivan Theater. It carries a lot. It carries the whole legacy of the Letterman thing, all of those guests, all of that television history, all of those performances, all of those legendary moments. Not to mention the fucking Ed Sullivan show. And it wasn't just the Beatles, it's like a lot of fucking bands played on that show. They all played in that fucking theater. That's crazy. And now it's probably going to be either a private ping pong club or a fucking Equinox. So it's part of the big novel of the death of America and our own. You know, it's like The Sopranos, right? The Sopranos, it's just interesting how we're caught in these kind of historical processes that are so slow and like there's nothing we can do about it. You know, in The Sopranos is like he's in it at the end, right? He didn't get in when it was good. He got in when everything was dying, when the mafia, when their code was dying, the old ways were dying. Their whole, you know, these guys are getting busted for heroin. They're going to jail for 20 years. They're going to jail for 45 years. It's, you know, American economy and so we're all part of this. We're all a part of this, like sort of fin de siècle America or whatever, and we're subject to it as historical victims. We have to come to terms with like the it has more of it's just amazing how much that stuff affects us. Just like your the way your identity grinds up against like the historical momentum or adjustments or whatever. And just little changes, little shifts can be like traumatizing. And we're all, you know, these things are happening more and more rapidly, cost of things going up, nowhere to live, people losing their jobs, AI becoming more and more this just kind of like foregone conclusion as sort of just like you all purpose everything salute tool. Uh, there's nothing you can do. You know, I probably was born, we probably were born, you know, at like the worst time in 5,000 years for like white guys to be born. Or I don't know, maybe that's just like, it just feels like we're more and more shaped by circumstance. Maybe that's just like the effect of the fucking algorithm or something on my brain, but like, it feels like there's less opportunity for social mobility, less opportunity for like some kind of organic success. You have to like buy likes, views, promotion, paid promotion. You have to have money to do anything, start a business. You have to have money to like lose money, or else your businesses will die. And the rest of us are just kind of like frozen in place or something socioeconomically. You know, even things like the industry of like when I got to fucking New York or the more elite kind of media centers, the ability for a young actor to get in, like, let's say a commercial, which is going to pay their yearly, that shit had all been gutted in a way. You know, the payment structures of those things, those jobs were no longer like unionized in the same way. They didn't have to pay residuals in the same way. So even if you booked some kind of like national thing, it was going to be like a one-time payment. It would be a nice little chunk of change, but like it wasn't going to be enough to like pay your salary for a year or like buy a fucking house or something like it might have been, in the fucking 80s or 90s or even 2000s, where it was like there was still like legacy media payouts for shit. It's just like something changed infrastructurally where like there was no longer an economy for like people to get on their feet. There was no longer like uh even something like Broadway, which is supposed to be like sort of a training ground, that just became like this prohibitively expensive, like corporate celebrity fucking thing where it's like there weren't that many new plays. Any play probably has fucking Daniel Craig in it, or Daniel, what's the fucking kid who played Harry Potter? Those things still existed, but it just felt like there was less and less of a margin for error. There wasn't quite the infrastructure to like help people get on their feet, help train these actors, get them in plays, get them on Broadway, get them in fucking TV shows. Best case scenario, it's like maybe you'd have a spot on like fucking Blue Bloods, Law and Order. You know, there's less indie films. There's less indie films that pay. So it's like there's just no scaffolding, to like. Uh, so what do we do? We complain about it on the internet to other people that feel similarly victimized, to other people who want to reiterate and believe the same narrative, victim narrative. Well, it's like, I mean, with the entertainment industry or the film industry, it's like crazy what the fuck happened to that whole business, to the point where like now even fucking big time celebrities are doing commercials and doing anything they can't, doing cameos. It's crazy to me that some of these people will do fucking cameos, who do cameos. because they're hard up. So it's like even that's like not a fucking viable like way out anymore. You know, if there's no sense that like I mean, unless you become an influencer, you know, it seems like influencer is the most viable, like realistic way that your average person or just some kind of normal person start making content for whatever reason. The algorithm likes you, people like you on the internet, they think you're cute, they want to stare at you, they want to have sex with you, and so you get boosted or whatever, and suddenly you can monetize your ass. And that's how you fucking do it these days. Figure out some way to get people to look at you on the internet and like Elizabeth Eats, just through strength of personality, through sheer charisma. I guess I'm gonna watch some movies now on my projector. Thank you guys for tuning in on Saturday night. God bless you. Hope you're safe and warm and you're lucky. I hope you're getting lucky in your life. Whoever you are out there watching. You know. Amazing how just like lucky breaks can make big difference. Most life just kind of goes along, goes along. That's why. Well, I think it pays to things like this are like dumb. You know, like it pays to try to submit to things to try to fucking because if you win, if you get in, it's like oh shit, okay, bam, I accomplished something. You know, I made the grade. I fucking you know, like if you audition for something, you get cast. It's like, fuck, oh shit, well, I won. I did it. It's a euphoric high. It's just another kind of drug. Uh, well, I don't know. It can change your life. You know. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for watching, everybody. Bedtime for you. Sleep time for everybody. Sleep time for my fans. So Bruce Halliday and Adam S. My bros, my dogs, my ride or die. You're gonna get a huge stimulus check. Your treason stimulus check. Your insurrection stimulus. All right. Well, it's time for me to watch more TV miniseries about the life of Shakespeare. So watch along. Maybe I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'll be back on soon. Maybe tomorrow. It's supposed to rain tomorrow too, so we'll see. Good night and have a great Saturday night. You know, check out some of my vlogs. Go watch my old vlogs. They're you know simpler times. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good night.